Yes, you can start.
Very well written by Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam sir in the wings of fire that every individual has divine fire in him. His aim should be to give wings to this fire. Hello and good afternoon to everyone. Today we are here at our another national conference organized by Department of Forensic Science, Legal Desire Media and Insight. Legal Desire has been a publisher of credible legal news, research and insight for over last 7 years and has become one of the fastest growing legal news and information brands by bringing the company's heritage of credible advice and guidance to the global online audience with millions of readership across global legal fraternity. Almost 3 years back, Legal Desire started working in the field of forensic science and established a separate department of forensic science and criminal investigation in 2019, which aims to look after the Legal Desire's initiative to promote forensic science in criminal investigation and its inclusion in legal academic curriculum. For the same, the department regularly organizes annual international conferences, seminars and webinars, workshops at international, national and campus level. The department has launched Forensic Reporter, that is India's first monthly forensic science newsletter, which includes national and international news related to forensic science, interview with forensic personnel, articles, case judgments, upcoming events, updates, and latest job openings. The department is strengthened by its team of global forensic experts, lawyers, doctors, and academicians. An international journal on medico-legal issues for and forensic, that is International Medico-Legal Reporter, is also published by the department. Its mission is to promote criminology and forensic science through education, research, and training by setting new benchmarks, helping and developing a problem-solving approach among students and forensic investigators by providing a platform for interaction cutting across state boundaries, and sensitizing officers of criminal justice system and forensic scientists to harness potentials of science in criminal justice. With this, I, Sonali Kesarwani, on behalf of Department of Forensic Science and Criminal Investigation, Legal Design, Media and Insight, takes this opportunity to welcome each one of you to the National Conference on Trends in Cyber Forensic Investigation and its related blocks. One of the emerging threats faced by every state of India during this COVID-19 pandemic lockdown is cybercrime. The traditional on-site crime have now become virtual crimes nowadays, and every day lots of people and organizations are targeted, duped and deprived of their hard-earned savings or information by fraudsters. The unfortunate reality of the cyber forensic industry is that pursuing cyber crimes often requires complex investigations that frequently span borders, both national and international, and are often subjected to different jurisdiction and legal systems. This, combined with a huge volume of complexity and of information, as well as complex hardware and software systems, raises evolving challenges. Cyber forensic investigators must be ready and able to effective in multiple disciplines that span several fields, including law, computer science, networking, criminal justice, forensic, and data mining. As a result of these trends, and with cybercrimes on a constant rise that is difficult to keep up with, technology and examiners have to evolve and innovate more than ever before. So, to discuss the various trends in cyber forensic investigation and the laws related to it, today we have with us a renowned panel of experts in this field. I'm sure throughout the session, you all will have an enriching time of learning. On this note, I would like to introduce our first speaker of the day, Mr. Anil Chiplunkar sir, corporate InfoSec and IT professional, cyber fraud investigator, Thane, Maharashtra. Mr. Anil sir has more than 33 years of experience in information systems and has been working in the information security space for last 20 years. He has successfully managed and delivered consulting projects for implementing information security management system, business continuity management system, cyber fraud management, information security governance, and compliance reviews. He has worked across various countries and is a renowned member of various institutions including ISACA, CSE, PMI, Computer Society of India, Howard Square, and Global Technology Review Panel of MIT. He has conducted many national and international training programs along with various seminars on topics related to risk management and information security. He has completed his diploma in topics related to risk management and information security. He has also completed diploma in cyber law and has done various certification courses on fraud examination, information security management, and forensic accounting. He is actively involved in formulating security strategies, governance frameworks, policies and procedures, information security audits, and IS risk assessment, as well as improved information security architecture covering information technology, physical and environment security. He has been a major contributor in digital fraud investigative and advisory services related to fraud risk management for various organizations across multiple verticals like BFSI, IT, manufacturing and pharmaceutical, etc. for fraud risk management. It's an extreme honor to have you, sir, with us. Over to you.
My pleasure. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. And I know it is a little tough time for the guys to hear about the cyber forensics and the technology or technical jargons about cyber forensics, that too on a Sunday afternoon after a nice lunch. But we'll ensure we try to keep it entertaining for all you guys. And at the same time, we'll try to deliver what are best we have gained throughout these years of experience in the cyber forensics field. So let me start with my presentation. So Bhargav, we are able to see the screen, right?
Yes, sir, we can see your screen.
Sonali or Bhargav, you can confirm you are able to see the screen?
Yes, sir, we can see your screen.
Hello?
Yes, sir, we can see your screen.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Because I'm not able to see any chat or anything, so I just thought of taking a confirmation on voice so that I can continue. Otherwise, what will happen, I will continue, and in the meantime, we'll come to know that is not visible. So, okay, good start. Now, before we get into the presentation, a quick disclaimer. Whatever I'm going to discuss here is purely based on my personal experience and my personal opinions or personal views. My organization does not necessarily endorse all these views. These are purely personal. The second disclaimer is whatever statistics or figures which I have used in the presentation are purely for informational purpose. And all the credit, due credit, goes to all those source from where I have picked up the statistics or the pictures or the figure. So now let's get into cyber forensics. And this is what we are going to look at it. We'll start why cyber forensics or cyber fraud investigation is important, and then what is cyber fraud investigation. Then we'll look at the methodology, and as I said, we will not get into too much of technical details, although a lot of technology is involved, but we'll try to keep at a top level. Then we'll try to look at a couple of case studies which I personally handled few years back. Then we'll talk about some challenges and what is the futuristic about, or what is the future of this cyber forensics going forward. Now, there could be few things which I will try to rush through because of the time constraint. But if there are any queries, you can definitely put on chat. We'll try to address it at the end of the presentation. or if the time does not permit, we'll definitely reply to your queries over mail. My mail ID also will be there on the last slide. Now, when we talk about cyber fraud, and as Sonali mentioned, the current pandemic situation has really given rise to so much of cyber crime around. And typically, cyber crime is a crime using the technology, or typically what we call cyberspace. Now, when we talk about cyberspace, practically there is no physical boundary. The logical boundary is limitless, right from an end user who is sitting somewhere in a village to a corporate, like the recent hack we have seen, the Twitter accounts hack. So a corporate sitting in US to a end user who is working somewhere in a remote location. So cyberspace is really, really huge, and there is no defined perimeter to really look at the fraud investigation. When in a typical fraud scenario, when you have a particular organization where the fraud has happened, it's a physical fraud like a theft or something, then there is a physical determined boundary, which is not there in this case. So it becomes a little challenging when we go forward in an investigation. So these are typical cyber crimes, and we hear these terms quite often. Hacking, practically everybody knows what hacking is all about. Then we have got cyber stalking. That also is very well in news recently. Pornography obviously is always in the news. Phishing also is in the news. Although I tried to keep it into two columns. One is mainly about a broad category of cybercrime. The second column is more towards what we call cyber fraud. So we'll try to also look at whether cybercrime and cyber fraud are same thing or they are two different things. Typically, we use these terms interchangeably. Either we use cybercrime or cyber fraud, but there's a thin line of difference, and that I will discuss with you. So, email bombing, denial of service, or email spoofing, ransomware, these are quite common attacks. Then we also have so many news practically every day about credit card frauds, banking frauds, mobile frauds. And I think you recently might have seen a case where the adjudicating officer in Maharashtra has passed on a judgment penalizing a bank about not taking enough care into the implementation of cybersecurity controls. Of course, personally, I have got slightly different views on that, but till the time I get the uh, details of the cases, I cannot really get into a detailed comment on that. But what I mean to say is there are very, very frequent crimes which are in the news right now. And when multiple people are now working remotely due to the current situation, most of the organizations have majority of their workforce working remotely. The end user computer, the laptop or a desktop where the person is using from home, does not have the same level of security probably which is there at the corporate level. So this is a kind of very nice breeding ground for cyber criminals to try and attack these kind of users. Now going forward, so cyber crime and cyber fraud. So we have seen in the previous slide the general category of cyber crimes. Now, what cyber fraud indicates, and this is a particular thing when I'm thinking about, I came up with this, what do you say, fraud as an acronym. So I treat fraud as an acronym, and I have come up with an elongated form of this fraud. And you can put it as a copyright of me because this is the term which I have come up with based on my experience. So fraud essentially talks about financial resources which are acquired using deception. And in the cyber world, the deception is comparatively easy than in a physical world. So when we talk about frauds, 99.99% of time the fraud is always related to a financial resource. And in the physical world, we have seen the check forgeries, the ATM withdrawals, and all those kind of frauds. They are typically the financial frauds. Now, when we look at these frauds are being done using the cyber resources or the cyber space or cyber techniques, then these can be called as cyber frauds. So in the previous slide, what we discussed about cyber crime, that was the overall category. And cyber fraud are typically the crimes which are aiming towards getting some or the other financial benefit out of that activity, right? So that is what we call cyber fraud. Now, when we move forward, the current survey which is coming from the statista.com, it's a very good site. You can look at the surveys. What it says, financial fraud. So if you look at value of bank frauds in 2019, it's really worrying amount. 715 billion Indian rupees are siphoned off through the fraud. And typically, when we do fraud investigations, there are challenges in recovering these kind of money because the money is already changed hands so much that it's really tough. Although you go and catch the criminal, but recovering all this money is really tough in typical financial frauds. These are some headlines recently which you must have seen. It is from the Hindustan Times. The Delhi police says the business email compromise, and you have seen the same word on the first slide which I have shown about cybercrime categories called BEC. Now, what this BEC typically is about, trying to do a phishing attack or a business email compromise of the people who are into the authoritative position, something like a CFO or a CTO or a CEO or a managing director or the chief compliance officer. So trying to compromise their business email and trying to get a lot of information out of it, which can be used. And typically these criminals are behind certain categories of information. That also we have got some statistics to see what kind of information really interest the cyber criminals. Now these are some net banking frauds where the probe has already been launched, and you can also see this in the daily newspaper. This I was talking about what kind of information the criminals are normally looking at. So customer information is the top priority, financial information, strategic plans. And if you look at all these kind of information, the criminals are always trying to target and get this information out of the organizations, and then they can use it for their own benefit. And that's where the BEC is really on a rise. And in the current situation where there are little or there are delay in physically verifying who has sent the mail. Normally in a corporate setup, if a CFO gets a mail from some other person, he can just pick up a phone or he can just call for the person and figure out whether that mail is genuine. But in current scenario, it is a bit tough to verify physically, and that's what cyber criminals are trying to make use of. Then typically the 10 biggest cyber threats to the organizations, we always talk about phishing, and it is a very, very effective technique till date also. That number of these crimes happen due to phishing. And phishing, technically there are a number of tools also you can try and stop or minimize the phishing, but it is 100% or it is difficult to 100% stop the phishing. And it's all depends on the individual. If you are not very careful, then there are challenges. Now, phishing typically works with kind of psychological mindset of the person and try to come up with so nice kind of mails that a normal user will be more or less compelled to believe what is there in the mail, and by mistake he will click the link, and that's good enough for the criminals to get into it. If you are interested, you can also look at number of these cases which are discussed on various YouTube videos about phishing. Even the current Twitter account hack, there are some speculations that there could be phishing which actually got into revealing the information of these Twitter accounts. Now, when we saw these are the cyber crimes and these type of frauds happen, then how to investigate those frauds? And although the methodology has a lot of technical stuff, but we'll try to look at a broader level picture. I will not get into too much of technology on operating systems or networking or anything. So what essentially we do, we call it as a cyber forensics. So in in doing the forensics, the basics of forensics are, there are two things which we need to ensure: what actually has happened and who is responsible for it. These are two questions which are predominantly need to be answered, and the entire case will be built around this. Now, one of the challenges we also face is when we look at this cyber kind of a crime, there are no physical boundaries as we discussed earlier. And as Sonali also mentioned, there are a lot of times the cross-border members are also involved in this, and that becomes real challenge. And I had also faced it in one of the case where I was doing email forensics, and the source which I was able to trace back was in one of the neighboring countries. So it was a real tough call then to proceed forward. So while investigating any computer crime, what we need to do is we need to ensure that the entire process we followed will result into acceptability of the entire evidence and the process in the court of law. When I started my investigation practice, so to say, or I've stepped into cyber investigations for the first time somewhere in very early 2000s, my first mentor or director, he told me, Anil, remember, whenever you are going to investigate any case, you have to keep it in mind that it is going to be presented in the court of law. Whether it will actually result in that or not, it's a different issue. But you have to follow the methodology in such a way that it is going to be presented in the court of law. So you have to be always very, very systematic in following that process. Now, when we talk about forensics, there is a very basic rule which all the forensic examiners, apart from cyber forensics, even the traditional forensics we follow, is called Locard's exchange principle. Now, what is this exchange principle? This guy says when there is a crime scene and there is a physical evidence on the crime scene, and we have got a victim and suspect. So anybody or anyone entering the crime scene takes something from the scene with them or leaves something behind on the scene. So as an investigator, it is our job to identify what is that which is left behind on this crime scene. Typically in if you're interested in these kind of things, look at the CID or a crime patrol or forensics files or CSI, all those serials. So typically whatever is left on the site are fingerprints, blood stains, and DNAs, and all those kind of things. Now, in a cyber forensics, it's tough to look at the fingerprints, but we look at the digital fingerprints, typically of what is left on the site, right? So as we're talking about, traditional forensics is about the hair, skin, blood, fiber stains, DNA collection, testing, and all those kind of stuff. Now, when we talk about cyber forensics or computer forensics, although we started it maybe few decades back, 2 decades back, but it's still relatively young technique because it still needs to be developed. There are so much of technology available, and cyber criminals always come up with some innovative ideas, and we need to figure out what exactly they have done and where all possible areas where the evidence could be possibly found. Then there are unique issues associated with cyber forensics because it's what do you say, completely a digital environment or a virtual environment, and the evidence is also virtual or a digital evidence. What happens in the current scenario, if corporate email fraud happened and you need to look at the email server, now there are less chances where you will be able to shut down the email server and do the forensics, because it will then impact the normal conduct of the business. So just for a single email investigation, you may not be able to stop 85,000, 90,000 people accessing email. So at times you need to figure out the tools, you need to identify right kind of methodology, and in a real running environment, you need to identify the investigations. So something like bypass surgery where the heart is functioning, but still you have to do the surgery, right? Now, when we talk about cyber crimes or computer crime categories, these are different types of crimes where the computer is used either as a target. So typically from the hacker point of view, where the person is trying to steal the data or a database or whatever the information from the organization. Or computer can be just used as an instrument in the crime. So something like the telecom fraud or computer or credit card frauds, where the computer is just used as an instrument. So during forensics, we need to know what role it computer is going to play in that entire fraud chain. So we'll be able to identify and fit the right kind of video in the right place. Then computer can be incidental to the crime. Money laundering is a very good example. And there are other crimes, typically the software piracy or a copyright violation, where computer prevalence has been used day in and day out, and people even don't recognize that this is actually a crime. So when it comes to investigation, at times it becomes real tough. Now, when we look at forensics, we know that the fraud has taken place. We have been called for the investigation. Then we really look at what kind of forensics we need to perform, whether it's the internal related fraud. So we need to perform an internet forensics, which is, as we were discussing, there is no boundary to this. So it may involve so many devices, so many different applications, so many different people, so many different organizations. Within a company, there could be network forensics only for that organization. Then the time frame becomes slightly easy for the forensic investigator to handle. Then there are something like disk forensic or system forensics. What all are those? We'll talk about that. When we talk about disk forensics, we typically look at recovering the deleted files, recovering the password. Nowadays, a lot of organizations use encryption, so trying to recovering the cryptographic keys, and then analyzing the entire recovered data for file access, creations, modification time, if anybody has manipulated with the file, what are the application logs, determining the user's activity on the system. All those things we need to analyze based on whatever the evidence we got from the crime scene. When we talk about system forensics, it is dependent on which operating system we are looking at. And this is one more challenge starts coming in, because there are different flavors of operating system being used by corporations. Predominantly, there are Windows or Mac or OS or those kind of things, but there are other operating systems. At times, we have also come across with very proprietary operating systems. So at that times, it becomes real tough, because as an investigator, I may not be expert in all operating systems. So I need to call on for the experts from that field, and then with the help of them, I can go through all these swap files, temporary files, how the operating system organizes its file structure, and based on that, I will be able to identify the right kind of evidence which is going to relate to my particular fraud investigation. Then we talked about network forensics. Typically is from different IP headers, data link layers. There are different network devices involved. Now we'll come to the process, and I'm slightly going fast considering the time, because I don't want to encroach the next speaker's time, but still we'll try to cover the best possible things in this short time span. So the entire process starts right from identifying the evidence. So as an investigator, we need to identify where all the evidence possibly could be. Then preserving the evidence. Typically, you have seen the yellow tapes moving around on the crime scene, saying that crime scene do not enter. So that is the kind of things we need to do, so that the evidence cannot get contaminated by somebody inadvertently stepping into the crime scene. Then after identifying that evidence, we need to use proper techniques to collect that evidence. And since it's a digital evidence, it's highly volatile at times. So collecting the evidence is always challenging. You need to have right kind of tool, you need to have right kind of setup, you need to have right kind of time frame to collect those evidence. Then after collecting the evidence, we need to do the analysis of the evidence using multiple, again, tools and techniques. I remember when we started the first investigation practice in 2000, after initial 6 to 7 months, we came up with our own kind of forensic workstation. And it's a kind of briefcase where we have kept all our forensic tools, including our USB drives, our operating systems, free hard disk, markers, and all those kind of things, evidence bags and everything. So it's a kind of forensic workstation, what we used to call it, and we used to carry it to the scene to collect the evidence using all those tools which are available with us. One of the challenging thing in a forensic investigation is to present that finally in the court of law. Because it's a digital evidence, you need to really establish a complete chain. And without getting into a lot of these technical jargons, you still need to present this case in a solid manner in the court so that the judicial system will understand how exactly the fraud has happened and how you are able to reach to that final culprit. And so it is easy for the court to arrive at a judgment. And finally, after the court has done the judgment, based on their direction, you probably might have to return that evidence to the owner because the data belongs to the owner. So when we talk about identification of evidence, typically these are the areas where you will find the evidence. On the hard disk, yes, we all know hard disk has so much of data stored, and today it's in terabytes and petabytes and zettabytes. So as an investigator, when I'm going to collect the evidence, I also need to have that level of capacity to collect those kind of data and bring back to my lab to investigate it. Then the data is also the evidence is also in memory or running processes. Now, when we look at running process or memory, these are highly volatile evidences. So if an investigator switch off a machine which is supposed to be investigated, then the critical evidence is lost because memory and running processes are now shut down when you shut down your machine. So before shutting down or before doing anything with that machine, we need to identify whether I need to capture that evidence uh, from memory or the running process. And that should be the priority because it is going to be ever changing status as the computer is still running. Then there are so many areas, and identifying the evidence into these floppy disk nowadays nobody uses, but there are USB drives and so many things lying around. At times we found it very tough to even identify whether it's a USB drive because it looks like just a memento placed on a table. But when you actually go through detail investigating the actual physical scene, then you probably discover all those things hidden inside drawers or inside that memento. And nowadays, data storage medium are so small that it's really tough. Even if you look at your mobile memory cards, they are now nano cards with GBs and TBs of data to be stored. So it can be hidden practically anywhere. So as an investigator, this is really challenging area to identify the evidence in the first place. Once the evidence is identified, this we have talked about various electronic sources or non-electronic sources where you may find the evidence. Then as an investigator, we need to preserve the evidence and we need to ensure that there are no changes, so to say, with the configuration on the evidence machine, because even a small change in configuration can result into something like a tampering of evidence, and that evidence may then get disqualified as admissible in the court of law. So we need to ensure that we are not going to change any configuration. We label and disconnect all those phone lines, computers, everything after capturing the right kind of volatile evidence, and we preserve the area. At times, we also have traditional forensic people along with us who typically look at the fingerprints and the other traces. And I remember one of the cybercrime case we were investigating. It was quite a few years back for an insurance company, and ultimately that resulted into a murder case. So the entire digital evidence has helped the police to actually look at who was the actual culprit and how the case has been uh, identified at that point in time. So preservation of evidence, typically in earlier days, we used to document the scene by even using the kind of pictorial diagram. Nowadays, we can actually take a photograph, including date and timestamp on the photograph. and ensuring that the entire physical scene, the physical position of the devices are captured, including the mouse position and all those kind of things. In one of the cases, I remember the defense attorney was always saying that if the mouse has actually used to click this particular thing, the mouse would not have been in this position, looking at the person's hand and everything. So that photo which was captured actually had come to rescue, where the judicial system was able to actually reconstruct the scene using that photo and say, yes, this is what we are looking at is proven through the photo. So we photograph the scene, we look at the condition, location of all the equipments, we look at all the items which are need to be collected. And when the evidence needs to be collected, then we have to look at maintaining the chain of custody, and that will also come in next couple of slides. Now, when we have identified the evidence, one of the important thing, as we are talking about, volatility of the evidence. Since it's a digital evidence, there are a number of areas which are highly volatile, and we need to capture those before the evidence get erased. So registers, the caches, the physical memory, the network state of various applications running on the system. All these are in a kind of chronological order on the screen right now, from highly volatile to no volatile. So CD-ROMs printouts, typically you have the evidence which is there in the long term, so that can be captured at the end. But the first 3 or 4 things we need to capture immediately. So when we look at our forensic investigation methodology, we need to identify these areas and determine our process of going forward and capturing it. At times in a hurry, if you just confiscate the disk, you probably might lose the evidence which are already volatile, and we are not really looked at capturing that first before touching the other evidences. Now, when the evidence is captured, we need to preserve the evidence till the end of the entire course of investigations as well as the case. So we need to follow the procedure. And I remember right at my first investigation, my director told me, you always need to use a hard bound book to write all your notes, including date, time, and everything, with the numbered pages. Why a hard bound? So that if somebody wants to tear off a page in between, it is been noticed, and it should be a numbered page, so that your entire process, you can prove the integrity of the process when you are doing this. So when the evidence is captured, we need to look at preserving the evidence and maintaining a chain of custody. So what is that chain of custody? Chain of custody is nothing but what was collected from the site, who collected it, what actions are taken on that evidence after collection, and how the integrity of the evidence is maintained. So typically in a digital evidence, we have certain techniques like the hashing algorithm, using encryption, using the file integrity check, all those kind of things or techniques we need to use to ensure that the integrity of the evidence is maintained. If we are not able to prove that the integrity is maintained right till the end of the investigation, it is real tough call in the court of law to prove that the evidence is not tampered at all or is not manipulated at all throughout the entire investigation. And these are at times we have faced these challenges. So this, as I said, this is completely out of the experience what I'm talking about. And possibly in the next few sessions, you will also hear the similar kind of things. When we look at preservation of evidence, we limit the number of persons who handle the evidence to try and avoid the contamination of the evidence. For each transfer, when the evidence is transferred from one place to another place, we maintain the complete register, including the proper date, time, who is the person, place, how, what action that person planned to do, signatures, everything. This is also part of the chain of custody. So apart from digital analysis, we also need to look at this procedural aspects, which are very, very important in cyber forensics. When we collect the evidence, as I said, we need to bypass the operating system, because number of times when you connect your forensic workstation or a forensic application, typically operating system will try to detect something new and will try to execute it. So automatically you can say the evidence is already been changed. So we try to bypass the operating system. So you need to have certain kind of tools to bypass the OS and still take the entire evidence. So we take the image, and as I was telling, we had created a forensic workstation. In that, we have actually had all our empty hard disks, the tools, the empty DVDs, all those things to try and capture these evidence by bypassing the OS. By just connecting the computer to the forensic workstation, we are able to achieve all of those things. Then I was talking about integrity. The last bullet talks about the same thing. CRC is the cyclic redundancy check of the hard disk, as well as MD5 hashes. So probably all of you know what is a hash. It's normally a one-time. It's a one-way process. So hash value is computed from a set of data or set of text, and if any single change happen in the set of text, the hash value changes. And since it's a one-way operations, there is no way that from the hash you can go and recover the original evidence back. So this is kind of hashing function. Now, once we capture all the evidence, we actually go to analyze the evidence. And as far as possible, we don't work on the original evidence. We always work on a safe copy, which we have created based on our evidence capturing tools. And then we process that entire data, reverse engineering to extract the disk partition information, file systems, what are the software installed on the system. And there are a number of commercial tools and free tools available to do this. I remember when I started in first few years, we were struggling with getting those kind of tools. There were hardly 4 or 5 tools available. But today, definitely there are at least 50 plus tools available to capture different things. So for mobile forensics, there are different tools. For network devices are different tools. So right now there are a number of tools available. So as a forensic investigator, I need to know which kind of tool I need to use for which kind of evidence. So that is one of the challenge also we talk about as being a forensic investigator. Now, when we analyze the evidence, we need to look at the complete timelines, prepare the analysis reports based on whatever the investigation we found out, and make a complete case study so that you are going to finally present it in the court of law of what happened right from a chronology and the entire network or internet or the devices involved in that entire crime, right? This I will time being skip because this is probably will be covered in next of the few sessions. So when we look at this, few of the important aspects as an investigator we need to look at. Evidence that should be admissible in the court of law, and the definition of admissible is given in the Indian courts. What evidence can be considered as admissible in the court of law? It may happen that as a cyber investigator, you may need to be present in the court to give the expert testimony. You need to properly explain and present the evidence to the courts, and if there are juries, then to the juries. And every time you cannot expect that the person sitting in front of you is highly technical. So you cannot get into too much of technology, but at the same time, you need to prove your point that how you are able to arrive, what kind of technology you have used to arrive at that particular decision. And after the final court disposition, if the court orders, you need to return that evidence to the owner, or it can be preserved in the custody. It all depends on the outcome and the direction of the courts. Now I will come to case studies. I think Bhargav, we have got some time, right?
Yes, sir, you have some time.
Bhargav?
Yes, sir, you have some time.
Bhargav, we have some time, right? Or you want me to stop here?
Sir, you can have time.
Okay. So if there is a time overshoot, just let me know so I can just wrap it up, right?
Sure, sir.
So I'm just going to present two case studies. This one is the email forensics, which I handled personally. This case was in Delhi. The mail has been received by one of the very senior members of the management team, and that mail has threatening language, right from a physical threat up to a financial threat and a brand reputation threat. And looking at the mail, you can identify that the person who has written this mail, that person has the insider information. At the same time, that person is kind of the mail. Now, so as I was telling you, cyber forensic investigator, you also need to look at not only on the technology part, but the other side of human behavior, the psychology and those kind of things. Uh, this this uh, this typically is called like a forensic profiling. So when you look at that particular mail, look at the complete structure, and then you know that this person who has written this mail has taken efforts to write a proper, legally acceptable kind of a mail, and the information which is verified by the senior member that yes, this is the true information. So you know that the person has the insider information. So there are these kind of clues will help you to look at who could be the possible suspect. So when the mail has been received, there were a lot of internal discussion happened in the senior management, and then they called a consulting organization for the investigation, where he actually went on site. Then we looked at the mail we discussed with the senior management member. He was actually a chairman of the committee within that organization. And then we discussed with other members also of the committee. We prepared our complete background, what this particular case is all about, what the perpetrator tried to achieve. Then the mailbox was backed up using our forensics tool. Now, after we backed up the mailbox, then we looked at the IP headers. So you know the mail always carry the headers, and you can go and try and trace back from where it originated. Now, in the current scenario, in today's world, there are a number of free tools also available which allow the criminals to spoof these IP addresses. Now, in those kind of scenarios, these are really tough, they are real difficult to try and go to the source. Yes, there are techniques where we can still achieve to a good extent tracing to the origin, and we also need to look at the other areas how we can locate the origin of this particular mail. Now, in this case, we are able to look at the originating IP address from where it has come. Now, this particular IP address was identified as a dynamic IP address which is allocated by a ISP like the cable net provider or the telecom provider. Now, when it comes to that stage, as a private investigator, I may not be privy or I am not authorized to go to the ISP and pick up the logs from the ISP. So we need to get the law enforcement involved. So by law, only law enforcement officials can obtain those logs. So the entire case has been discussed with the law enforcement. I personally went along with the law enforcement to the ISP. We looked at the date and time stamp. We got the logs from the ISP. We looked at the mapping of that particular IP to a telephone number. We got which telephone number was associated with that IP during that particular date and time when the mail was originated. The person, although he was quite knowledgeable in writing the mail and everything, but he made a basic mistake that he used his personal computer at home to actually write that mail. So the IP has led us to his home telephone number. So we went there, we got his computer seized, his entire hard disk has been analyzed, and we found that the mail generated using that suspect's computer. And finally, that person was arrested. And that person was actually the insider of the company. So the first investigation when we looked at the mail and when we discussed with the senior management, the first conclusion was there should be some insider involvement, otherwise this particular information which is in the mail, which you vouch as a true, would not have been there unless it is verified by somebody inside it. So we already had that suspicion, and this actually led us to a final proper conclusion. Then this case was presented in the court, and the next thing happened. So this is just a summary of what we did. The next case which I investigated was in Mumbai, and this is what happened. So you can see all those money is going to and fro between these things, and the amount involved was substantial. The senior official of the organization was actually a suspect. So he was charged. Typically, the suspect was the topmost kind of person within the organization, and the board of directors had that suspicion. So what they have done is they have called us for the investigation. The high security area was allotted for our investigation, and I remember that time I spent actually 6 nights 7 days at the site, because it was such a sensitive area that they were not willing to take a single thing outside the organization. And it was very important also as an investigator to or rather for the organization to protect the investigator, because the amount involved was so much that wiping out investigator was probably a good bargain for the perpetrator. So I was there on site for 6 nights 7 days, and all the laptops and desktops of various officials related to that suspicious person were captured. We made a complete forensic copy of all those machines. We investigated, including so much of it was like a novel. There are a lot of traces. You have to go back and forth, looking at the accounting statement, looking at the Excel sheet, looking at the mail logs, looking at the actual presentations on the hard disk. There are so many different bits and pieces, so it's like a jigsaw puzzle. And successfully we are able to get all the puzzle pieces together, and by the end of seventh day we are able to put the entire picture right from where it started to where it is today and where the money has actually gone. So we are able to establish the entire thing. And finally, when on the 7th day I was to leave that location, the board of directors convened a special meeting and asked me to present the findings, which I presented in a kind of PowerPoint presentation with all the evidence shown there. And finally, then they called their legal counsel, because it was a real big corporation, and the entire evidence and everything I handed over to their legal department, which then I have taken to the court. And finally the legal proceedings initiated. So when I detached from the case, they actually filed the case and arrested the suspect, and the entire thing started from there. So these are two case studies which I thought I will discuss, where you can probably see what kind of methodology we have used, which I discussed earlier, looking at the forensic copy, analyzing the evidence, preserving the evidence, and all the chronology of the events, and finally how it has been concluded by getting into a legal proceedings. And almost after 4 years I detached from the case, there was a conviction of that person. Now, looking at these challenges in the cyber forensic investigation, there are challenges at every step, right from identifying the evidence. As we discussed, evidence can be n number of places. So we need to identify where exactly the evidence would be lying and how we are going to capture that evidence. As we have discussed, the evidence is digital, so it's highly volatile. We need to really look at capturing those first. There are so many detailed procedures involved that you can't miss a single step of capturing the evidence. If you miss a step, there are challenges or there are chances that the evidence can get tampered with, and then you lose the admissibility of the evidence in the court of law. The packaging, the transportation, the storage. If you look at the memory sticks or different devices, they are highly sensitive to the magnetic field, they are highly sensitive to the temperature changes. So we need to ensure that how they are preserved, how they are packaged, right? When we collect the evidence, as I was discussing, there are multiple operating systems involved, multiple devices involved, multiple applications involved. So we need to have the availability of necessary tools to capture those kind of evidences. Then analyzing the evidence also is a challenge. I remember in 2000 till some around next 6-7 years, I single-handedly could have handled multiple cases. But after that, I really need to work as a team, because as the technology progresses, I cannot be knowledgeable of so many of different technologies. So I need to get the relevant experts from those technologies, and then we work as a team to come up with complete analysis and finalization of the entire case, right? Now, beyond today, what may happen? Technology is advancing so fast. Today, we are talking about 5G technology, which even Reliance has promised that next year they will be there. So 5G technologies, what are the challenges in those technologies? As the investigator, I need to study that technology when I'm going to look at identifying the evidence using that particular technology. Then there are different operating systems coming up. We are also talking about quantum computing. We are talking about Internet of Things. So some prediction says there are around few billion devices already connected on a IoT. So there are so much of information available at so many different places. So as a fraud investigator, it really becomes tough for me to identify where all the information could be lying. And since it's practically a connected world, the information travels so fast, you need to really identify and capture where all the information is going to be moving around. Traditionally, forensics is used as a detective mechanism. So it's typically a kind of post-mortem exercise. Once the crime happens, you have to then go and look at it. But at the same time, as we always say, prevention is better than cure. So we need to use at times forensics as a preventive techniques. So there are a number of organizations who are coming up with the request of doing fraud risk assessment and try to use certain level of forensics and try to identify there are possible fraud areas, so how we can prevent those. So going forward, this is also going to be a challenge when you look at so many of the connected devices across the world, right? And if you really look at a kind of hypothetical scenario today, so if there's a pacemaker which is IoT enabled, practically from my laptop, I can change the uh, beating frequency of that pacemaker and actually can result into murdering somebody. So it's real difficult. Look at these kind of scenarios to get into a cyber forensics and try to identify these kind of criminal activities in today's world. So I think that was it which I want to share. If there are any queries, we can definitely take up. My email address is also there. So if you have any queries which still remain unanswered, we can definitely respond to you over the mail, right? I think, Bhargav, I'm just about to end my session in next 2-3 minutes. I think as per our schedule.
Thank you, sir,
So
for
back to
sharing
you,
your
Bhargav,
insight.
Sonali.
Yeah, thank you, sir, for sharing your insight. Now we will take some question, and the question will be available on your screen, sir. Now you can stop sharing the screen, and you can come back to the main screen.
Come back to the studio.
Yes.
Okay. Now I am on video only. No screen sharing, right?
Sir, question from Adi Chakravarti.
BPOs collecting information from masses. These are very much possible, right? Now BPOs, when they collect the information, you are looking at the BPOs you misusing the information, or somebody within the BPO trying to post that information on a cyberspace, and then it is going to be misused. So as I was saying, when you look at the actual fraud case, then you need to identify what would have happened and then who is responsible. So if a BPO executive post, say for example, if it's a credit card support service, so executive is private to the credit card information. If the executive captures that credit card information and put it on the internet to say I'm going to sell it for 5 rupees credit card information, then yes, it's definitely a fraud, that a misuse of information, where the executive is also involved, at the same time the company is also involved because they have not taken enough precautions to misuse this information. I think
Next question.
that
Yeah.
possibly answers this question. Yeah, okay. So when we are going to make any payment on the site, we need to actually verify the credibility of that particular site. And I know this Facebook or this Instagram also gives some kind of a security ratings to different sites. But if you have, and there are cases, I agree that payment has been made, but the good has not received. At the goods, or the goods have received, the wrong goods are received. So in that case, you always need to approach the cybercrime because they have got the right kind of authority, and you have to launch the complaint to the Facebook or Instagram what actually has happened. and the authority, the law enforcement authority, has those kind of process that they can go and uh, get the evidences from this kind of service providers. So as an individual investigator, I can just definitely help only up to a level where I can identify this is where the fraud has happened and this was the chronology of the fraud. But ultimately, law enforcement has to be involved to get those details from the Facebook or Instagram or WhatsApp or whichever the service provider is.
Thank you, sir. Next question of Zenith.
Do courts have special experts who collect digital evidence and analyze them? Okay. Nowadays, our law enforcement, yes, they have lot of expertise developed, and there are cybercrime cells across practically all the states within India. And we also have digital forensics laboratories across multiple states in India. But court as such have not really, means I have not actually heard of court appointing a specific expert on their payroll. But yes, police always are there to do the investigations, and we have got number of good friends in police who are the cybercrime experts, and they would be able to help you on that. They rather they actually help court to identify the right kind of investigation. Could you tell us how evidence are preserved? Which tools or techniques? So, as I said, this particular digital forensic or digital evidence, the evidence needs to be captured in a form of digital information, which there are different tools available. If you are looking at open source tool, there are something like Coroner's Toolkit or FTK or Autopsy or OS Forensics. If you are looking at commercial tools, there are something like Oxygen Forensic, there are something like Encase. Encase is popularly been accepted in multiple international courts. I have been using it since late 90s, so to say 1999 or 2000. So there are tools which help you to make a complete bit by bit image of the evidence. So you can prove that evidence is captured using these kind of tools, which have the capability, proven capability that the evidence is not tampered with during the capture. And when it is preserving the evidence, you have to seal it properly in the evidence tamper-proof bags, store it in an environment where the environment will not impact the evidence, because you know the storage media typically are magnetic media. So there are different ways and means you can do that.
Thank you, sir. Over to you, Shruti.
Thank you so much, sir, for such a knowledgeable session, and thank you for sparing your valuable time with us. We have learned a
My
lot from
pleasure.
your session.
I will be present in the next speakers because I love to hear all those things. So I will just put my camera and mic off. Right.
Sure, sir. Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Thanks, guys, and enjoy the Sunday remaining. Whatever Sunday is with you.
Now, it's time to introduce our next speaker, Dr. Narendra Kumar, sir. Sir was raised and brought up in Firozabad, Uttar Pradesh. He has completed his BSc and MSc from Narayan Degree College, Shikhodabad, and completed his MPhil from the Institute of Basic Science, Khandari, Agra. He has attended the 6-month training on crime scene management from National Institute of Forensic Science, Rohini, Delhi. He has also attended the 6-month and 3-month training on crime scene photography and document photography from NICFS, Rohini, Delhi. He has been working as a scientific officer in the Department of Computer Forensic Division in State Forensic Science Laboratory, Lucknow. He has reported more than 1,000 cases related to cyber forensics and also sees the case of NIA of cyber forensics. He has participated and presented his research and review work in more than 20 national and international conferences and webinars. It's an honor to have you amongst us, sir. Over to you.
गुड आफ्टरनून एवरीबॉडी माय सेल्फ नरेंद्र कुमार, जैसे कि उन्होंने बताया, आई एम प्रेजेंटिंग माय Are you my PPT is visible on the screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. So my
So
topic
you
is
can
in
put
a
it on full screen mode.
yeah.
You can start the slideshow.
Okay, okay, okay. So no, cybercrime and its forensic investigation. Now I need to say brief history of uh, okay, okay, okay. Slideshow. Brief history of cyber world. Started with the cybernetics and Bawiskar team term popularized by a mathematician named Anil Nobel winner in the 1940s. As we know, before the cyber world, some type of any analog birds scenario is present in the world. So now this is the new scenario. Cyber bird came from ancient Greek word governance, which means the gift of any governance and applied to the leadership. It means it is not related the computer but a mathematician over any winner. In 1940s, used the cybernetics word. After that, we adapt the cyber word for the computer and related to the internet services. Okay, what are the cyber crimes? Cyber crimes refer to any crimes that involves a computer, a mobile, a network, or cyber crime is any illegal act committed by using a computer network or mobile. In present scenario, most of the cases are any coming of mobiles and other digital devices which are used to capture the screenshot, capture other any digital format of any other kind of systems. So most now any desktop and laptops are not any really used for the cybercrime. Mobiles are any huge cybercrime most of. Last any 6 months, I have received the more only the mobile phones or any uh, which are in those we are in including is cybercrime. So number examples of cybercrime, identity theft, like your identity has stolen from the email sites and यूज टू लोन लेने में उनको यूज कर सकते हैं आपका साइबर एक क्रेडिट कार्ड्स इन्हें लेने में आपका यूज कर सकते हैं वो ऐसे आपको जो आइडेंटिटी थेफ्ट आपकी इंटरनेट से नहीं लोग आगे इसको चुरा लेते हैं एंड अनऑथराइज एक्सेस यानी नेटवर्क एक्सेस अनऑथराइज जो नेटवर्क एक्सेस आपका यानी जैसे वाईफाई वगैरह से अनऑथराइज सर्विस आपसे लेके आपका यानी उसमें डाटा है वो स्टील कर लेते हैं साइबर स्टॉकिंग का आपके किसी की भी उस पर साइबर स्टॉकिंग यानी आपकी मैंने एक कॉमन वो क्या है इंटरनेट फ्रॉड्स में आपका ये है ऑनलाइन शॉपिंग हो गई OLX हो गया और आपका तमाम यानी जितने भी साइबर से रिलेटेड जितने भी केसेस हैं वो इंटरनेट से इसमें रेफर किए जा रहे हैं आप फिशिंग है ईमेल है ऑनलाइन यानी शॉपिंग फ्रॉड्स है आइडेंटिटी फ्रॉड्स हो गया वर्क फ्रॉम होम घर बैठे कमाएं इसमें भी अनेक फ्रॉड्स यानी मोस्टली हो रहा है तमाम लोगों के पैसे ठग लिए जाते हैं इसमें तो मोस्ट ऑफ द केसेस यानी ये इनमें यानी फ्रॉड्स यानी चल ही रहे हैं लॉटरी फ्रॉड्स आते हैं लॉटरी फ्रॉड्स यानी यू हैव वॉन द यानी $55,000 US तमाम most of the Nigerians are involved in this fraud. तो ऐसे ही ये मैट्रिमोनियल फ्रॉड्स भी होते हैं इंटरनेट फ्रॉड्स में ही सारे ये इनको क्रेडिट कार्ड रिवार्ड पॉइंट्स हैं जैसे इंटरनेट में आपको नहीं यू हैव गॉट ए मैसेज फ्रॉम इंटरनेट यू हैव credit card score is this and click this and avail the any network avail the any credit score then any child any babe defacement present scenario most of the persons are any defame to another person on website to posting a type of any illicit posters and messages and other type of any messages posting on the internet child pornography is available on the internet. This is also a cyber crime. Interception and fabrication of emails. This is also a crime. या आपका मेल हैक कर लिया जाता है, मेल को फैब्रिकेट करके दूसरे के मेल पे भेज दिया जाता है और आपका मेल को यूज करके इंटरसेप्ट करके आपके मेल को दूसरे के मेल पे भेज दिया जाता है। थेफ्ट ऑफ पासवर्ड्स, आपका की लॉगर में जाके इनके अटैक्स की लॉगर अटैक्स से आपका इन्हीं पासवर्ड्स चोरी कर लिया जाता है आपका, और उसी पासवर्ड्स को यूज करके लोग उसमें आप तमाम इसमें फायदा बेनिफिट्स ले जाते हैं। कार्ड फ्रॉड्स होते हैं। कार्ड फ्रॉड्स में मोस्टली नहीं यूज क्या कहने, जैसे एटीएम कार्ड्स पे नहीं उन्होंने अभी स्कीमिंग डिवाइसेस लगाई हुई हैं। स्कीमिंग डिवाइसेस, I have got a case from any Gonda. Police seized 6,000 any ATM cards and from a suspect or a accused. He used to stand near a ATM card और वो उन्हीं लोगों को शिकार बनाता था जो थोड़ा सा बुजुर्ग और जो अननोन पर्सन होते थे एटीएम के यूज करने। तो उनके कार्ड को लेके सिंपल सा हथेली में रखने वाला कार्ड रीडर और उससे उसको शेयर कर लिया, स्कीमिंग कर लिया और सॉफ्टवेयर के थ्रू उसके डिवाइस का पूरा वो बना लेता था। एंड कॉल्स फ्रॉम एनी कॉन आर्टिस्ट, मोस्टली कॉल्स जितनी भी आती हैं हमारे पास, जितने कि आपका कार्ड है आपका ब्लॉक होने वाला है, आपका ये कार्ड अपना पेटीएम पिन बताएं, आपके जो ओटीपी भेजा गया है वो बताएं। ये इस टाइप के लिए साइबर क्राइम्स मोस्टली आजकल हम ये चलन में देख रहे हैं। तो ऐसे ही केस हमें मोस्टली ये प्राप्त हो रहे हैं, जैसे हमें हमारे लैब में ये ऐसे ही केसेस। हु आर द साइबर विक्टिम्स? इंडिविजुअल्स, द अनअवेयर इंडिविजुअल्स, जो साइबर क्राइम से अवेयर नहीं है, ऐसे इंडिविजुअल्स वो इसका इन्हीं ज़्यादातर विक्टिम्स होते हैं। द डोंट केयर इंडिविजुअल्स, वो ज़्यादा परवाह नहीं करते हैं, वो इंडिविजुअल्स इसमें नहीं फंस जाते हैं। द इनोसेंट वाई स्टैंडर्ड, वो इंडिविजुअल्स भी फंस जाते हैं जो टोटली इनोसेंट होते हैं। और कंपनीज आती हैं, कंपनीज जो इसका शिकार होती हैं। नो सिक्योरिटी अवेयरनेस नहीं होती जिन कंपनियों में, उनका डाटा चोरी हो जाता है। और बॉटम लाइनर्स होते हैं जो ठीक कहते हैं कि नहीं हाँ ठीक है, जो हल्के फुल्के उन्होंने सॉफ्टवेयर फायरवॉल यूज कर लिए, वो मोस्टली इसका शिकार बनते हैं। Who are the criminals or perpetrators? Not just hackers, also companies seeking competitors' trade. ये लोग भी इसमें कंपनी में ही दूसरी कंपनी का डाटा यानी चोरी कराते हैं। कौन आर्टिस्ट हो सकते हैं? पीडोफाइल्स हो सकते हैं जो साइबर क्राइम्स का, डिसग्रंटेड एम्प्लॉयज हो सकते हैं, एक्सीडेंटल क्रिमिनल्स हो सकते हैं। एक्सीडेंटल क्रिमिनल्स में जैसे कि जो उन लोगों का कोई भी मेल भेज दिया, कॉल कर दी, उसी में वो उसको लालच में लेके उसका भी मोस्टली वो यूज कर रहे हैं आजकल। इंटरनेट शुड बी viewed as a major cyber crime from medium in which the criminals can conduct any illegal acts. एक major cause of any cyber crime through computer is malware. Malware is also consists of programs such as viruses, worms, Trojan horses, and rootkits that are designed to harm your computers. Most of the malwares steal your data from your computer and keywords and some valuable things are stolen from your computer. What should I do? Awareness is the first step to protect yourself and your family. सबसे पहले अवेयर हमें करना है सभी लोगों को। डोंट शेयर योर पासवर्ड, डोंट क्लिक unnecessary websites, send another unknown person. Install next में install antiviruses, firewall, spam blocking softwares for your PC. Detect secure websites when conducting transaction online. ये हमें सीखने हैं. Do not respond or act on emails from unknown sources. Don't share your password to unknown person. Don't take help to unknown in the ATM cabin. Don't share OTP received on your registered mobile number. ये चीजें हम अगर अवेयर हो जाएं तो हम इन चीजों से बचा जा सकता है. Type of forensic investigation regarding cyber any crime. Earlier, my honorable speaker asking about cyber crime investigation. तो साइबर क्राइम इन्वेस्टिगेशन दो तरह की होती है. इन्वेस्टिगेशन फॉर ऑनलाइन डाटा रिकवरी फैसिलिटी एंड सेकेंडली द इन्वेस्टिगेशन फॉर ऑफलाइन डाटा रिकवरी फैसिलिटी. The most of the forensic science laboratory are doing the offline data recovery facility. And any other our police special task forces and ATS and NIA, they are using the online data recovery facility because they want more data from the criminal and at the time of seizures provision. So online data recovery facility is available for the police and law enforcement agencies. Next, forensic tools for data recovery extraction, data storage devices. Earlier, my senior speaker tell about the NCASE forensic data or disk forensic. FTK forensic toolkit. This is access data. टूलकिट है. मैग्नेट अक्जियम कंप्यूटर एंड मोबाइल के लिए यूज किया जाता है एंड मोबाइल एंड टैबलेट्स के लिए जो यूज किया जाता है ईफेड फॉर पीसी विद क्लाउड. ये लेटेस्ट टूल है जो मोस्टली सारी जो इन्फोर्समेंट एजेंसियां हैं वो ऑल ओवर वर्ल्ड में यूज कर रही हैं. ये इजराइल का ये टूल है. ऑक्सीजन डिटेक्टिव, ऑक्सीजन फॉरेंसिक है ये, तो ये मोबाइल के लिए है. एंड XRY forensics. XRY forensics is also a good tool. And MD Next, Red Light PTC. This is the any Handcom GMD, Korean latest software for mobile data recovery, and this tool is now unlock the any latest any mobile gadgets. So this tool is very good for the mobile. When we are using the mobile data recovery or data extraction in the laboratory, we use the multi tool forensic tool, because if one tool is failed for any data extraction, then we go for another tool. Thank you. Any question? Hello. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So,
are you hearing me?
yes, sir, we can.
हेलो. या इसके अलावा भी हम वी वांट टू शेयर माय सम crime scene investigations scenario, or any question from the any क्वेश्चन सेशन है क्या इसमें?
Yes, sir. You can stop sharing your screen. You can see the question on your screen.
Okay.
You can come back to the studio.
ठीक. Yeah. IP एड्रेसेस के लिए नहीं, सिंपल सा टूल्स हैं हमारे पास. तो सिंपल से टूल्स में हम जाके ही IP एड्रेस पूरा दे देते हैं. IP एड्रेसेस इसके लिए हमें ट्यून यूज करना पड़ता है. फॉरेंसिक टूल्स में है जैसे लाइव डाटा के लिए X1 सोशल डिस्कवरी है. मिस्टर वीरेंद्र राठौर जी, फॉरेंसिक एंड X1 सोशल डिस्कवरी है। एनकेस फॉरेंसिक्स ये डिस्क फॉरेंसिक्स के लिए यूज होता है। और आपका यानी ये सेलिब्राइट का ई प्लेटफॉर्म पीसी है, विद क्लाउड है, विद चाइनेक्स है। तो ये लेटेस्ट जो है हमास जिसको यूज कर दिया, इजराइल का टूल है, ये बहुत अच्छा टूल है। तो इसमें हम क्या करते हैं कि ये हमारा सारा डाटा देता है, रिपोर्ट जनरेट भी करता है। ये IMI वगैरह जितने भी सारे हैं ये टूल्स हमें प्रोवाइड करा देता है।
Thank you so much, sir.
ओके ओके,
Our
थैंक यू।
next esteemed guest of the day is Mr. Neeraj Aarora, Internet lawyer and cyber warfare expert, International Association of Computer Investigative Specialists, New Delhi. Mr. Neeraj Aarora, advocate on record, Supreme Court, is known for his challenging integration of dynamically changing technologies along with cyber laws. In his effort to make emerging technology such as blockchain, artificial intelligence, machine learning, 5G technology, big data, Internet of Things, cryptocurrency, and drones an integral part of the legal framework of India, he is making the most of his exclusive skills which he learned through his professional qualifications and exposure to wide sectors that today has made him a widely acclaimed resource person of finance, law, and technology. Mr. Aarora is also working on the legal compliance associated with admissibility of electronic evidence and privacy issues under the Personal Data Protection Bill and GDPR. Mr. Neeraj Aarora is also an international arbitrator and computer forensic expert with a niche in technology and cyber laws in India. He is independent director of the Board of Insolvency Professional Agency Office Board of Coast Accountant of India, and also the chairperson of the Monitoring Committee of IPA. He is also the founder of his techno-legal firm, Hazel Legal Associates, which is specialized in cyber law and technology. Mr. Aarora has published several research papers in India as well as in international journals, thereby performing his bid for reforming cyber laws in the country. He is a faculty on cyber law, cybercrime, cyber forensic with Indian Law Institute, CBI Academy, and various other prominent institutions. He also acts as a special public prosecutor with National Investigation Agency, New Delhi. Sir is also a member of Investor Grievance Redressal Committee and SE, BSE, MCS, SX, and mediator with KLRCA. It is a pleasure to have you amongst us, sir. Over to you.
Thank you, Shruti. Thank you very much. Are you audible?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. So just let me share my presentation. So are you able to see my presentation? Hello?
No, sir.
Shruti?
No, sir.
Not
Can
yet.
you see my presentation?
Not yet, sir. Yeah, it's loading.
Yeah. Okay. So very good afternoon to all of you. So
Sir, you can switch to your PowerPoint window because we can see your this screen. So you can switch to your window PowerPoint.
I can switch to my...
We can see your entire screen. So you can switch to your PowerPoint. Yes, now we can.
Yes, sir.
So we have discussed about the computer forensic, right? But one of the bigger challenges is that when we go to the court or when a forensic report is presented in the court, same need to be admissible, same need to be proved to be authentic. So that is one of the bigger challenge in the court. And one of the reason why it is a bigger challenge, because most of our forensic labs, whatever forensic they are doing only on the basis of the two. So if we analyze this particular aspect in the Indian domain, then we would be able to see that most of the experts we are having are the tool experts. So that is one of the reasons that a number of the reports which are filed in the courts are not admissible. So now we are going to discuss this particular aspect, that who is an expert in the eyes of law, when his report would be admissible, what are the prerequisites that need to be satisfied. So first I am coming to the relevancy and significance of the electronic evidence. So this is one of the case, a very famous case, a case which shows us that the electronic evidence is a game changer. The case because of which now Imran Khan is in power and Nawaz Sharif is in jail. The case which also shows us that now the electronic evidence is a substantive evidence, it is no more a corroborative evidence. So fact of the case are that the case was against the Nawaz Sharif, and the case was of corruption regarding the two properties which were located in the UK. Nawaz Sharif appeared before the court, stated that these two properties does not belong to him, and these two properties are on the lease. They have taken it on the lease, and they have also produced one trust deed with respect to these two properties. The trust deed was executed in March 2006 in a Calibri font, right? And you know, when the Calibri font was launched by the Microsoft, it was launched in the year 2007. So only one single document, which is a electronic evidence, has changed the fate of the case, have changed the fate of the government in the Pakistan, have changed the fate of the Nawaz Sharif. So now that is the role which can be played by the electronic evidence in any case. But for the electronic evidence to be reliable, it must be authentic, it must be admissible, its veracity need to be proved. And computer forensic is one of the steps in proving the authenticity of the report. Now we have the another case which again shows us that why now the forensic would be required in most of the cases of the electronic evidence. So in this case, the case is of murder, and murder was executed at the first floor of the hotel. Every entry which goes to that room where the murder was committed was covered by the CCTV camera. The police investigated the case, they took hold of the CCTV camera, but they have not relied upon CCTV camera for the reason known to them. Ultimately, the accused was convicted by the trial court. Conviction was upheld by the High Court, but when the matter went to the Supreme Court asked the police, where is the CCTV camera? So the police failed to give any satisfactory answer. The court stated electronic evidence is the best evidence. And if you have that evidence and you are not producing it before the court of law, you are suppressing it, then adverse inference has to be taken. The court took the adverse inference and acquitted the accused. So now relying upon the electronic evidence, producing it before the court of law is not a matter of discretion. In every case, the police have to seize it. In every case, the police have to produce it before the court of law. Otherwise, court can draw the adverse inference. Now we have the third, and I would say one of the very interesting judgment, best judgment, I would say, even if you look upon this aspect throughout the world, this is one of the best judgment which has come from the Supreme Court of India in November 2019. And this case is on the right to get the mirror image, right? So one of the things which we need to appreciate is that if we do not give the mirror image to the opposite party, so then opposite party cannot defend itself. So that's why under section 207 CRPC, the opposite party have a right to get the mirror image of the hard disk of any electronic media which is relied upon by the prosecution. So now what happened in this case? The case is of rape. At the time of rape, one video was created by using the mobile, which was created in a memory card. Subsequently, when the charge sheet was filed, accused went to the trial court, requested that please give me the mirror image of the memory card. Court asked, this is a video of a rape. It violates the privacy of the complainant. Trial court declined. High Court declined. But when matter came to the Supreme Court asked, if we will not give the mirror image, how the accused can defend himself? How the accused will come with for rebuttal of the evidence? So beautiful proposition have been laid down. So the Supreme Court has stated that it is also correct that since the privacy is violated, we cannot give the mirror image. But again, for allowing the right to defense to the accused, the court directed that accused can go to the court, accused can look into that memory card with a forensic expert of his choice, then he can identify what are the point of the forensic examination which can go in his favor, which can go in his defense. Then he will give all the point to the court, and court will send that memory card to the another forensic lab. Now this forensic lab will do the forensic examination for the accused. It's a remarkable and beautiful judgment, unique on its own in the entire world. So basically now this judgment has given the right to the accused, I would say, in all the cases. So now when we talk about the digital evidence, one of the biggest challenges with the digital evidence is that it is fragile, it is mutable. Its metadata can be easily altered. We can create any fake document, we can create any fake electronic document, right? And possibly, since I myself is a forensic expert, I can say that its metadata can also be changed, and even by forensic examination, it may not be possible to find the forger. So that is one of the bigger risks. And that's why there is a principle at the international level that we should not rely on the electronic evidence only for the purpose of arriving at any conclusion or at any judgment, right? So now maintaining the chain of custody is one of the bigger challenges. In case of electronic evidence, for maintenance of the chain of custody, a different set of procedures need to be adopted. Number one, no examination need to be done on the original media. Copy of the original evidence has to be created on a forensically stratified media. Copy of the evidence must be the bit by bit image, and data on the victim computer should be protected against any modification by the investigating officer, by the forensic expert, and everything should be logged into the audit report or seizure memo, whatever document is created by the investigation agency. Then 2 points I want to add, which are the basic concept which are being used for the electronic evidence. So these are basically at the international level. First is called as a pictorial theory. Now we are discussing about subjective and objective bias in an electronic evidence. So this theory is regarding the picture, images, video. This theory says whenever a photograph or video is created by one person, by using the video camera, by using the mobile or anything, then that person should be present in the court to prove that particular evidence. Without that person, the evidence would not be admissible. So that is the first pictorial theory. Then we have the silent witness theory. So silent witness theory talks about the CCTV camera. It talks about the camera which automatically takes the photograph when there is no author, when there is no person who is taking the photograph. So now what is the difference between two theories? In case of first theory, for any incident, there are two witnesses. One, your video recording, image. Second, the person who have done it. So even in that particular case, if the forensic is not done, or probative value of the forensic report is low, it will not make much difference, because again we have a witness to prove the same thing, witness to prove the same fact, and on the testimony of the witness, conviction can be done. Now coming to the second thing, that is the silent witness theory, where the photograph is automatically taken by the CCTV or camera. In that case, there is no witness. So that means if there is some manipulation, and if it cannot be unearthed, there could be miscarriage of justice. So in this theory says, so I have referred to the judgment from the Australia, judgment from the UK and US court. This theory says in case the evidence is coming from the CCTV camera or devices which are taking the photograph or video in an automated manner, then forensic is must. We need to prove its accuracy and authenticity beyond doubt, and only then it would be reliable. Now I'm coming to one of the very important aspect. The aspect is there is a one concept which is called as a white coat effect. It is from the judgment of Morgan versus the Queen in the Australia. Then we have the other judgment of the various courts. So that is the principle. Now, what does that principle say? Kindly appreciate. If there is a video in which it is shown that the person is committing a murder, right? So it is a beautiful piece of evidence. Now, let us, for the purpose of argument, let us presume that the video is fabricated one, and when it is sent to the forensic lab has given a opinion that it is authentic. Whether the opposite party, the accused, would be able to defend himself, it would be very difficult. The reason is the video which contains the incident of murder has a high persuasive value, and even if the opposite side comes with any other evidence to rebut it, the opposite side may not be in a position to convince the court. So that is one of the risks which is with the electronic evidences, particularly video, audio, and images. So I tell you one of the case. The case was of corruption, and one of the sub-inspector of Delhi police demanded the bribe on mobile. The complainant recorded his demand in his mobile, so it was saved in a memory card. That memory card was sent for forensic examination, and the expert, the forensic lab, has given an opinion that voice matches. Number two, authenticity is correct. So that means it is a one piece of evidence which can be relied upon by the court. But just before the trial, when I analyzed it, I found a very interesting thing, that the video was in MP4 format, and in the mobile, there was no software which can create a video in MP4 format. So then how its authenticity can be proved by the expert? Certainly it cannot be done, right? So when we have convinced the court about this, though the accused was acquitted, but I am telling you this is one of the inherent risks. The reason being, most of the expert in our forensic lab are the tool expert. So tool expert can cover 70% of the situation, but not the 100%. So that is one of the risks with the computer forensic as far as the India is concerned. Now we are coming to who is an expert. So when a person comes to the court, he says, I am an expert. Court look into number of things. Number one, what is his educational qualification? What is his practical knowledge? How he has done the analysis and how he has reached to that particular conclusion. What are the reasons? Then his ability to explain the expertise. Sorry. To explain the expertise and how he has arrived. So these all factors analyzed by the court in terms of section 45 of the Evidence Act. So now coming to the expert testimony. When the expert submits its report, when expert gives its oral testimony, whether the court would be convinced and on what basis the court will convince. Number one, first the court will look into his educational qualification. If he is not qualified, his opinion would be thrown, irrespective whatever may the opinion. So when we talk about the qualification, it also then the court will look into the whether he has a study in the relevant field for the purpose of qualification, what is his experience, what the training he has into that particular field. So the court will look into all these things first to look into whether he's an expert or his report is admissible or not. That first part. Now the second part is court will look into the competency. Then competency would be on all these factors: his qualification, his experience, his training, his relevant studies, and how he has applied his knowledge, education in that particular forensic examination. So that's the one part. Then the court will look into the credibility of his report. So the credibility would be basically on the basis of what the reason he has given, soundness of the reason, and connecting the reason with the final opinion. So if he is not able to connect that, then even the credibility of the report will go and court may throw it altogether. So how the court will look into the totality. So now we are looking into the other things also. Number one is the admissibility. For admissibility, one is the competency. So that would be on the basis of the qualification, experience, training, and all these things. Then admissibility of the technique. What technique he has applied. So that technique means technology. For approval of technology, the court will look into the compliance of the Dept principle, which we are going to discuss now. Then the court will look into the authenticity. So authenticity would be on the credibility of the expert witness. Then quality of the opinion. So that depends on the soundness of the opinion and connecting it with the technology. Third, whether he is complied with all the standards. So whatever the standard or SOP which have been laid down, whether he is complied with that process or not. Fourth, production of report. So whether if he has done any forensic examination, in support of his opinion, whether he has annexed the report of that examination. If there is no report, then the court will not rely upon that particular opinion. So these all the factors taken together would help the court in determining the reliability of the forensic opinion. But again, still the court will disagree. Why the court will disagree? Then the court will look into the corroborative and contradictory material. For example, the forensic report says and prove one fact, but there is another fact which is contrary to the forensic report, which is proved by the other evidences. The court will look into the totality of the case, totality of the facts, and will make its opinion. So we can see in the court that number of cases are there even where the court has disagreed with the forensic opinion. Now coming to the validity of the expert report, what exactly the court will look into the forensic opinion? Number one, opinion should be on the fact and not speculation, right? So it should be, opinion should be clear, explicit, and based on the reasons. Then what are the software which are being used? Whether they are open source, whether they are closed source, whether they comply with the Dept principle, whether they are licensed software or not. Output of the software, if they have used some software and its output, so whether that particular output in terms of the report of the software is annexed with it or not. Then the court will look into the chain of custody, whether there is some probability of manipulation or not. Then the court will look into the reasoning of the conclusion. So reasoning of the conclusion and qualification of the forensic expert, and ultimately the material will come to the court from two sides. Number one, forensic expert. On the second side, there is a defense who will do the cross-examination on all these points to rebut the validity, rebut the reliability, rebut the authenticity of the report. So when the material is from both the sides, then the court will analyze and ultimately conclude whether it is reliable or whether the judgment can be passed on the basis of that particular report or not. Now I'm coming to another very important issue which we have discussed initially, reliability of the scientific evidence. For example, if a particular software like FTK, in case it have been used, what the court will look into? Number first is the underlying scientific principle. For example, the hard disk has a data which is on NTFS file system or FAT file system. So first the court will look into the validity of this scientific principle, right? So for that, there are a number of tests that we'll discuss. Then the court will look what the technique has been applied to apply that particular principle. For example, now the analysis is being done of the NTFS file system, but we are using that particular software and case. So whether in case is valid, whether FTK is valid. See, here again I'm telling you, in these particular aspect, the court is the gatekeeper. Only the fact that a particular software is good, relied by the another community, may not be sufficient for the court to make its own opinion. Court can make its own opinion after relying upon that particular scientific concept. Third, proper application of the technique on a particular occasion. So first is technology, whether it is approved or not. Second, whether the technology is applied through a valid technique. Third, whether its application on a proper occasion for a particular case is valid or not. So what are these? These are again we are going to discuss. So first I am coming to the validity of scientific evidence, Dept principle. So we have so many judgment on this particular aspect. So this particular principle laid down 4 tests. Number 1, whether the technology, theory or concept behind it has been tested. What are the test results? What are the potential error rate into that technology? Whether it has been subjected to peer review community, and if yes, what are the result of that acceptance of that publication, whether it is accepted or not. So these are the 4 main tests which the court will apply to look into that particular technology. So here I am not talking about the NKS FTK, I am talking about the technology which they are using. Now, once the court say that the court arrive at a conclusion that the technology is approved, the second thing court will look into that when you are applying using a software, so whether that software is it has a proper source code to apply that technique. You see, we can have a software which can make 2 plus 2 22, which can make 2 plus 2 4 also. So there may be the coding error, there may be the biasness. So the court will look into that particular aspect. So you can always say there is no validity of this software. So particularly that issue always comes with the open source technology. So that we need to go. Third aspect which we have discussed is application of the technique on a particular occasion. So that means that when the examination is being done, whether he is applying to include the for I give you an example. For example, a person is giving the authenticity about the data in a hard disk, but if he is not find when the hard disk have been last accessed and what was the probability of the manipulation, and if he has not done the analysis to rule out the possibility of the defense, then certainly though the opinion may be correct, but it would have a subjective bias. That means the defense of the opposite party can also be correct. So in such cases, the court may not rely upon it. So these are the 3 components the court will keep in mind, and the prosecution will prove the case on the basis of these 3 components, and the defense will do the cross-examination to demolish the case of prosecution on all these 3 components. So here I am sharing with you one of the case, a very interesting case, where the court has set aside the technology. So this case is of murder, and when the murder was committed, the chloroform was used in committing the murder. When the police arrested the accused, they also seized the computer, and in the computer, they analyzed the computer using one software, net analysis, and according to that particular software, the accused have accessed for chloroform 84 times. So they use it as a corroborative evidence to prove that it is the accused who has committed the murder. But during trial, the defense has produced another software, cashback, which when the analysis is done using the cashback, it shows that the accused have access for chloroform. He has searched for chloroform only 3 times. Now there are 2 tools, both with a different result on the same thing on the same hard disk. Court asked the prosecution, tell why there is a gap. Prosecution failed to explain. Court stated that no, this technology is not admissible as per the Daubert principle. So apart from that, then there are some other issue which the expert need to know. For example, if the now this is one of the judgment of Supreme Court, Anwar PV versus PK Bashir, very famous judgment, which says that the for admissibility you need to have either the original media, and if you have a secondary media, then you need to have a certificate under section 65B. But in the same judgment, the court has stated that if it is a secondary media and it is not supported by a certificate under section 65B, then even if you take the forensic opinion, that forensic opinion cannot be looked into by the court. The report of the forensic expert will not be recorded. No reference will be made to the evidence which is secondary without 65B. So in such cases, even if there is a forensic, court will merely throw out the forensic report out of the court. So then we have the another judgment of Shafi Mohammed where the court has stated that Section 65 is not required. But just 3 days back, we have the another speaking judgment, Arjun Pandita Rao versus Kailash Kusum Rao, where the court has stated that Section 65B is mandatory. So that certificate is required to be there. So it is very important for the forensic expert to see before doing the forensic examination that the evidence on which he is going to do the forensic examination, whether it is admissible or not. Because if that evidence is not admissible, his forensic opinion is of no consequence. That is one of the challenges with the electronic evidence. Now there is another issue which comes with the computer forensic in the court. So when the exhibit are sent by the police, by the investigation agency to the forensic lab, and forensic lab has given its opinion whether that forensic expert is required to issue a certificate under Section 65B. So the answer is no. The reason why he is not required to do is because when the electronic evidence is generated at that time, it was never in possession of the forensic expert. So we have another speaking judgment on that particular aspect. Bhupesh and other versus the state of Maharashtra, where the court has stated that certificate under Section 65B is not required. Now coming to the legal challenge of the computer forensic. So there is another aspect which we need to understand, and one of the very final aspects. And the aspect is, if we look upon any forensic report, whether it is computer forensic or any other report, it always has the two components. Component number one is data evidence. So what is the data? Second is the opinion evidence, the opinion which an expert gives on the basis of the data, right? Now the issue which comes in the court is from Section 79A, because Section 79A of the IT Act says the government will notify an agency of the government as an examiner of electronic evidence. And then we have a Section 45A, which says that the opinion of the examiner of the electronic evidence, which is notified under Section 79A of the IT Act, is a relevant fact. So what happens? What is the implication? The implication is whenever any expert goes to the court for the testimony, the first question, which always comes from the defense, is whether you are qualified or whether you have been notified under Section 79A of the IT Act. So only in the last 2 years, few labs have been notified, and I will say that the 80% of the lab in India are still not notified, right? So if the lab is not notified, then its opinion would not be admissible. So first question, when we ask from the expert whether you have been notified, the expert say I have not been notified. Second suggestion which always comes from the defense is that you are not competent to give the opinion. So that is one of the biggest challenge when we talk about the admissibility of the forensic report. So the another thing we need to understand is when we come to the computer forensic report. So now if you look upon the computer forensic report, you will see that in 90% of the cases, the report is of the expert is that this data has been recovered. And if now you look upon his opinion is that above data has been recovered. So basically 98% of the cases you will see the expert is only saying that I did forensic and from deleted portion I have recovered this data, and opinion is only the data is recovered. So now we come to what is the relevancy of it. Why I'm putting so much insistence on it. So we have another section 98 of the Evidence Act, right? So Section 98 of the Evidence Act empowers the court to appoint an expert to read the data which is unintelligible. So that means if the court cannot read the data, court can appoint an expert who can come to the court, who will read the data and will tell the expert. So that's a very important provision. And regarding the relevance, I tell you, once it was way back in 2009, and a cross-examination was going in the court. and the cross-examination of the IT expert was going on. So the Defense Council has asked the question to the expert that can you tell what is the original format of the data in this particular floppy? At that time, the floppies were being used. So expert has given the reply that it contained the data in 0 and 1. Next question of the Defense Council was, okay, Mr. Expert, please read in 01 and get it written in 01. Now, expert was looking on the face of the Defense Council, and they were also looking, but Evidence Act says that you have to read the data only in original format. Only in 2000 we have the Information Technology Act and even Evidence Act was amended, and the provision to read the computer output directly without referring to 01 was introduced. Prior to that, it was not possible to read the data, to read the computer output directly, right? So, Section 98 gives an alternative remedy in place of Section 45A. So, wherever you think your report would not be admissible, you can always refer to Section 98 of the Evidence Act. So, given the time, I could not take the case studies, though I have already done the cross examination in more than 100 cases. So now, Shruti, I'm handing it over to you. Let me know if there are any questions from the participant.
Yes, sir. Yeah, the question will reflect on his.
Yeah, a very good question. The legal status of the cryptocurrency is, let us talk about the Bitcoin. In case of Bitcoin, the data is on P2P network. So P2P network means there is no centralized authority which can authenticate the evidence, right? So that means if I have to go to the court and to prove that I own one Bitcoin, can I prove it in the court? The answer is it's very difficult. The reason is because there is no central authority, so I cannot have first I cannot have the original computer in the court because it's into the P2P network. I can only have the secondary evidence, and in case of the secondary evidence, I cannot have any certificate from the central authority. So in both the cases, it would not be admissible. So the only way to make it admissible is by the corroborative evidence. For example, if you have purchased the Bitcoin from an exchange, you can bring the exchange into a witness box. But again, proving that in fact that Bitcoin have not been used by you, because once the Bitcoin is sold, right, you may not be able to bring the person who have purchased in a witness box. So that is another challenge. So in all cases of Bitcoin, proving it from the digital evidence or proving it from the Bitcoin ledger may not be easy. Number two, may not be feasible. Number three, you may not be able to encounter the cross-examination. If the defense counsel knows and he is a digital evidence expert, he will simply throw the case. And the only way to prove is that you have to come only with the corroborative material that how you come into possession of cryptocurrency. So any other question?
The next question is it safe to buy cryptocurrency?
I would not see. First thing is, as of now, the law is silent. Though the Supreme Court has set aside the order of the RBI, but till now, there is nothing in the law to say that it is a currency. So basically, it is simply a commodity. So I would recommend, please do not go for it because it involves a huge risk. The reason is the very simple thing you need to look into is that that cryptocurrency is not backed by the Reserve Bank of India. So various countries are playing their own games into that particular currency. That's why the price fluctuates so rapidly. So then when it is beyond the control of the individual, beyond the control of a company, then why you are taking so much risk? And I have seen people have lost crore and crore of rupees into this cryptocurrency. So at least my personal opinion is that I will not recommend. So apart from the one reason that it is risky, second reason is in case there is any offense relating to cryptocurrency, you may not be able to get the remedy. So the next question is from Ekta Jadhav. What qualification and certification are needed for a forensic computer investigator? You see, the best thing is you need to be passionate about the subject, because this is the subject which is so dynamically changing that I cannot tell. Whatever qualification may you have, but the main important thing is you should be able to encounter the question in the court. But the basic thing is you need to have some basic qualification or degree in the computer. Second, you can have a certification or a degree into the computer forensic. Third, you need to have a exposure. How many cases you have done? How many forensic you have done? So, as many cases you will give, that will enhance your credibility in the eyes of law. And above that, you need to continuously upgrade it, right? And as far as the computer forensic is concerned, I would tell you that you should know the forensic at a offset level. For example, I did my forensic from US. I am approved by US Forensic Board. I can do the forensic without using a forensic software by reading the data in binary, by reading the data in hexadecimal, and I can recover the data by using my computation, even without the use of the forensic. So, though I also use the forensic software, but I know the logic, I know the concept behind it. So, if you tell me how the software was able to do it, I can explain. So try to go at that level. And I'm telling you, after the basic degree, after the basic qualification, you have one of the biggest library Google. Everything is available there. You do not need any separate certification. Only the thing is, you need to have a passion on the subject. Because what the bigger challenge in computer forensic is, after every 3 months, you have a new operating system which work in a different manner, which keeps the data in a different thing, right? You have a different encryption algorithm, right? For that particular encryption algorithm, you may have a different type of encryption container. So you need to update yourself with continuing education. So that is more important. Yes, it can certainly be used. And recently, I have also come with a concept that how you can use the blockchain for maintaining the chain of custody. But the only thing is, if you use the centralized model, right? So then there is no problem. And even in case of the peer-to-peer network, the state of California, China, and two other countries. So total 4 countries in the world, they have come with their own law. And they have come with a very beautiful thing. The law is that if it is into P2P network, then there would be an expert who would be appointed who will analyze the data on the network, which is on the network on the internet, and will give its report. So then the report would be coming from an expert who is qualified, who is an independent one. So then he can explain to the court, and court will admit it. But still in India, we do not have that. Most probably, so now that would be the law of future even for the computer forensic. The reason is, as of now, there are so many evidence we see which are available on the internet, of which there is no source also. Like you take the evidence in case of Delhi riot, evidence in case of the JNU matters, evidence in case of the so many riots, that the videos and images are coming from the unknown sources. But still, if you know that forensic and evidence, proving the evidence from the unknown source is also possible, subject to certain parameters. So I worked on it. I written my research paper on that. So that can be done. Yeah, sure thing.
Thank you so much, sir, for joining with us today and sharing such an insightful
session. It's my pleasure. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Sure. Next, we have Dr. Shobha K. Bawiskar, Assistant Professor, Department of Digital and Cyber Forensics, Govt Institute of Forensic Science, Aurangabad, Maharashtra. Dr. Shobha Kamlakar Bawiskar is currently working as Assistant Professor, Class A, Gazette Officer at Govt Institute of Forensic Science, Aurangabad. Dr. Shobha ma'am has completed her bachelor's and master's in computer science and her PhD from Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar Marathwadi University, and has also completed MPhil from Yashwantrao Chavan Maharashtra Open University, Nasik. For the past 13 years, ma'am has been teaching undergraduate and postgraduate courses, some of which includes BSc and MSc in Computer Science, BCS, MCA, BSc in Forensic Science, MSc in Forensic Science, etc. She has handled projects in data recovery from damaged secondary devices with Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar Marathwada University, Aurangabad. Her areas of specialization includes machine learning, memes, digital and cyber forensics, etc. She has pursued her PhD from Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar Marathwada University, and 5 research scholars are recently working under their guidance. Furthermore, she has published over 30 research articles in various national and international conferences and journals. It is a privilege to have you amongst us today, sir, ma'am. Over to you.
Thank you for such a lovely small introduction for me. So, am I audible to you? Am
Yes,
I
ma'am.
audible?
Yes, ma'am, you are.
Okay. So, thank you for such a sweet and short introduction of me. I will take this opportunity to thank the organizers for giving me the chance to come up and explore my ideas or knowledge on the topic of scope of artificial intelligence and its impact on digital and cyber forensics. So let's begin. So the term artificial intelligence is very broad aspect. So let's start with the basic term. Like artificial intelligence can be divided into two aspects. One is the term artificial, and then we will see what is intelligence. So when the word artificial comes in the picture, it means that it is not a natural thing. And when we say it is an intelligence, so as per the Oxford meaning of intelligent, it says that the ability to acquire and apply the knowledge and skills. So the things which are not real, we are trying a machine to acquire some knowledge and try to establish the skills to perform the particular task. Now, if we take our day-to-day type of activities, everybody is having the email accounts, might be at different types of platforms. Somebody have Gmail accounts, some may have Yahoo accounts, some may have Reddit type of also accounts. Okay, so there you must have seen the spam mails folder. Okay, so whatever inbox, the mail you are getting, so that mail is being categorized whether it is a spam mail or it is a non-type of spam mail. So how it has been done? So whatever incoming mail is there, that is being analyzed, that is being checked for each and every keyword in that particular mail, and it is being searched for some type of related keywords, depending on which the categorization will be done, whether this particular mail will belong to spam type of mail category or it is belonging to non-spam type of mail category. Now, if we go for Gmail email categorization, there are having three types of categorization. One is your primary mail, another one is your social mail, and the third one is your promotion types of mails. Okay, so depending on the keywords, the mails are being categorized again in these three aspects. So this is one of the day-to-day life activities example of your email accounts that I have shared you. Now, most of us are belonging to the academic side only. As per the educations are there, lots of the people are have been published their research articles or going to publish the research articles. So here the concept of plagiarisms comes into the picture. So what we have to see that the research article should have no plagiarism or with minimum number of plagiarisms if we are using it. So it means what we have to give the proper citation. Okay, so whenever you are sending the research articles for the reviewers, what they are doing, they are analyzing your research articles with different types of tools. So the most popular tool that is used for plagiarism checker as your Turnitin, and the second might be considered as your Urkund. So these are two types of licensed type of softwares or utilities we can say, which gives you the exact accurate reports of your plagiarism checker whether you have copied it as it is or not. So if you have copied it, this article that you are having at one some particular sentence is there and you are copying it from the other source, so that will be checked. If it is matched, that means the plagiarism has been happened here. If you have not cited the particular content with the particular authorization author. Okay. So here there are some license type of software which are available in the market, like Dept, okay. So after this small introduction of your artificial intelligence, what we can say in short that artificial intelligence is the study of how to make computers do things which at the moment people do it at better. So whatever task that humans are going to perform in their daily activities, we are expecting the machines can also or machine has to do the same type of activities too. So again, we are having n number of wide range of applications of artificial intelligence with us. So in the next slide, I will going to tell you about the scope of artificial intelligence. So very first, we are having the first area is your robotics. Now, when we say robotics, what comes in your picture? The picture comes like a machine performing some type of task. But how it is being performed? The machine, first of all, it has to be designed, has to be manufactured, then it has to be operated, then it has to be tested, and then once it is giving you the full content, then you will be able to out the particular task. Okay, so whatever task the human beings are performing into the day-to-day activities, that task can be performed with the help of robotics. For example, India is the country of agriculture, so whatever work that is done with by the farmers, we expect that robotics should also perform the same type of work. This is the first example. Second example can be quoted here is of house cleaning robots. So it is very much demanding if it has come into reality. So whatever household activities are there, like cooking is there, house cleaning is there, washing your utensils, washing your clothes, if these activities are being performed by the machine, so that can be again a very self human relieving type of task. The next type of category that we can have is your surgeries, medical surgeries that can be performed here. So robots performing medical surgery. So that can be the third type of example. Next type of example that I can give you is uh, the bomb detection and bomb diffusion. So if the particular person is going and detecting the particular bomb and it is diffusing it, the chances are there that before diffusion only the particular bomb get blast and the life of the particular person or number of person might be in threatened. If the same task is being performed with the help of robots, so at that time the n number of lives of human beings can be saved here. Okay, so these are some of the aspects of your robotics. So your robotics are machines which are able or which has to be able to do the task which the humans are able to perform. Okay, then next type of category we are having is your biometrics. So what is biometrics? Biometrics again, if we bifurcate the two terms, that bio means what? Living things. So in living things we will consider only the human beings. And metrics means what? Measurements. So measurements of what? Of the traits of human beings. So whatever measurements of human traits are being done, so that can be considered as your biometrics. So what are different types of traits? So depending on your physiological traits and depending on your behavioral traits, it is being divided into these two classes. So if we consider the behavioral traits, so how we walk, how we speak, what is the gestures while walking, while behaving in the society. So that is called as your gait analysis. The second type of example that can be taken here is your key stroke dynamics. Every person has a unique style of typing in a particular rhythm. So that rhythm, that pattern can be used for analysis purpose. Okay, so coming to the next, that is your physiological trait. Here we are having the examples of your ear recognition. Then can have the example of your thumb, then your fingers, then your palms, hand geometry can be considered here, then your eyes, retina scan, iris scan recognition can be done. Your face recognition can also be one of the physical trait that can be given as an example to the particular system. Okay. Now for this biometrics, I would like to give you the example of say suppose Facebook. Now what we are having in Facebook, whenever we are trying to upload a particular photo on your Facebook account, what happens? The particular face is being recognized by using the facial recognition methodology, and depending on that, it is giving you the details that what is the name of that particular person X, what is the age of that particular person, and what is the gender of that particular person. So all these details can be found out whenever you are uploading your picture on the social media like your Facebook type of thing. Okay. Then you must have seen the movie of Krish, I think, where the Hrithik Roshan is been giving the palm prints, then the heartbeat scan was done. So this is biometrical representation, which is generally used for security purpose. So one level security, two level security, three level securities can be used here with the help of your biometric type of traits. Okay, so here how the process has been done. Actually, the data has been collected and it is being stored. Now, such a large and huge amount of data to be stored is a very tedious type of task. But nowadays, it is being stored at your cloud storage. So that cloud storage data is being extracted and it is being matched with the inputs that you have provided. If the match is exact, then and then only you are given the authorization to access the particular type of devices. Now, this security type of aspects can be seen in various types of bank accounts. If you are having your lockers, so there also you can see such type of biometrical traits. Even at your doors also, you are having the key thumb prints as the accession to open the door, or your voice to open the door. So this is what your one level, two level, three level type of securities can be used with the help of your biometric type of traits. The next aspect that we are going to have here is your pattern recognition. Now, when I say it is a pattern deals with multimedia type of things. Now, what multimedia contains? Multimedia may have textual type, multimedia may have your image, it may have audio, it may have video. Okay, so when I say that it is, say, suppose image type of thing. So, your image can be any type of image, means it can be uh, your person image, or it can be any of the instrument that you are having. So what do you have to do with that image? So here you can enhance the quality of that particular image, clear the picture. If there is any type of noise, that voice can be removed, and here you are able to identify the object which is placed into that particular image. Okay, so if I say the second criteria, I have taken it as the textual part. So when I say it is a textual part, so in textual part we can have our handwriting, we can have our signatures that we are going to do. So here handwriting analysis and signature analysis are the most important task which has been going nowadays also. So here, depending on the handwriting, if you consider what are the keystrokes that you are having, how much up, how much down you are using the particular writing patterns. Similarly, if you are going to have the signatures, so what type of keystrokes you are going to use. You might be have capitals and then the smalls and then just a line or ending dot points. So these are having some significance. Depending on these patterns, it is able to verify whether this particular writing or whether this particular signature is belonging to person X or Y. Okay, so if we go for the next part that we are having is your audio video part. Okay, so what is having in video, uh, as I have told you, for security purpose there are surveillance cameras have been fitted in various banks or in hospitals or in educational institutes, sometimes in your colony also, and sometimes at your home also. So what we are doing here, we are capturing the video motion which is going to take place. And depending on that CCTV footage, we are going to extract the keyframes of that particular image. And depending on what particular timestamp the particular event has been occurred, that timestamp keyframe will be extracted depending on what we are going to do. We are going to just identify what type of image was there or who is the person or what that person was doing at that particular time. So this type of activities can be done with the help of video type of analysis. Now next we are having is the audio. So audio recognition in which the voice is being considered or given in the form of input. So here this type of concept is called as your speaker identification type of concept. So here your voice patterns are being matched with the high pitch, low pitch, middle level pitch, average level pitch. So depending on the pitch of your voice tone that you are having, what type of accents you are going to use. So depending on that, you are going to verify that who is the speaker of this particular voice is belonging to. Okay. So this is what with this respect to your audio type of identifications. Now next we are having, it is again the part of image analysis also, in which we are considering very important documents. Now what can be the important documents? Important documents can be your currency notes, it can be checks, it can be any type of property papers, it can be your mark sheets, it can be um, any type of document which is having very high confidentiality rate. So what we are doing here, we are trying to identify, verify that this particular document is a genuine type of document or it is a fake type of document. So there are various type of strategies. By applying that strategy, we are able to identify whether the particular currency note is real or it is a fake, whether the given check is real or it is a fake type of check we are having. So this all things can be done in your document verifications. So all this part which is considered as your multimedia, so it might be image, it might be text, it might be audio, it might be video, it might be any type of document, uh, also in the printed format also. Any if that ink will be used for making the verification. Okay, so here we are able to have the pattern depending on which we are recognizing whether this pattern is but belonging to particular X, Y, or it is a genuine or it is a fake, or depending on the classification to which type of class it belongs to. So this is what it is related with your pattern recognition part. So next we are having is the expert system with us. Next slide. So in the next slide, we are going to deal with the expert systems. So when we say it is an expert system, just consider the example of a doctor. When we say a doctor is an expert person, so if that doctor is having the theoretical knowledge, if that doctor is having the practical knowledge of treating the particular person medically and diagnosing and the results are being positive, then and then only we say that this particular doctor is expert in this particular type of domain. Okay, so what the particular doctor is doing, he is depending on some such situations or depending on some symptoms, he is taking the decision that this is the disease that has been caused, and depending on that he is giving you some type of prescriptions. Okay, so here experts are making the decisions based on the knowledge that they are having or possessing depending on the past experience that they are having. So same thing, same concept is applicable to expert system too. Now what this expert system are we going to work like? So this expert system will be given the input at, say suppose at particular one domain, say suppose medical related domain only. Okay, and that particular domain will give you the full recent information till date. Now, till whatever recent and updated information that we are having, that much information we have given to the particular system as an input. Now, what this system is going to do, it will try to process the whole system. Now, how it is going to process the whole system? It is based on the rule-based mechanism. Rule-based mechanism means what? Here we are going to have if and then part. So if can be considered as your left hand side part and then can be considered as your right hand part. The left hand side part will consider all the constraints or all the conditions that you are going to tell. Now, if your condition 1, condition 2, condition 3 are true, then this type of action has to be performed. Same thing is done with the expert system. So expert system is performing the particular action, but with that action, it is also giving you the reasoning that why this particular action has been taken place here. Okay, so depending on that, the actions are being given as an output with the particular reason associated with it. Okay, so for example, here you can have a diagnosis type of expert system. Say suppose mycin is one of the expert system or puff is one of the expert system. So here what we are having, we are giving the inputs to the particular system in the form of symptoms. That's symptom 1, symptom 2, symptom 3. And depending on these 3 symptoms, the machine will process itself. And as an output after the procedure, the processing, it will give you that this particular X person is being suffering from, say suppose malaria. Now why it is suffering from malaria, for that also the reason has been specified, that these are some of the symptoms which are the leading conditions towards the malaria, and due to this, as malaria has been detected, now what should be the prescription, so that according to that detection, the prescription is also been given. Okay, so prescription is given, then diagnosis also told here, as well as they have given you the reasons also. So this is one of the simple example of your expert system. The other example can be considered as your debugging type of example. So whenever the coding, your coding part has some type of errors in it. So here you are provided incremental solutions to solve the very, very complex problems. So which are some of the expert system we are having? We are having Saint, S-A-I-N-T. Saint is one of the example of that type of expert system which is used to resolve the complex problem in very, very shorter time span period. Okay, then next type of expert system that we are having is instruction diagnosis. So here what we are doing, we are looking for a particular student, assessing it and try to improve him. So this can be done with the help of intelligent clinical trainings or smh.pal. So this is the 2 expert system which I would recommend, which can be used for this instruction diagnosis type of system. So the next application that we are going to have here is your chatbots. Now chatbots, you are all familiar with the very famous example of Siri. Okay, Siri do this, Siri do that. So what you are doing, you are giving the instructions to a particular machine. The similar examples can be considered here as Google Assistant or Amazon Alexa. Okay, so these are all the machines in which what we are doing, we are interacting with the machine. Now, how the interaction is going to take place? Interaction can be taken place text to text interaction with the help of chatting. Then you can have speech to speech interaction. Then third type of interaction is in such a way that you are giving the input in the form of text and you can receive in the form of speech, or vice versa. Give it the input in the form of speech and take the output in the form of textual part. So all 4 parts can be considered as the mode of communication that can be used to communicate with the chatbot. Now, what these chatbots are used for? Chatbots are used for helping the human beings in assisting them for the particular for the particular decision while making them. Say suppose, for example, I am getting a little bit bored. So what I will do, I will ask the particular system that tell me some options of doing the entertainment. So what the particular system is going to give me, that this for me, doing the entertainment, What you can do here, you can sing a song, you can cook for yourself, you can read things, read the nice books, you can dance, you can watch out the movie, you can go for the outing, or you can talk with your besties that you are having. So out of these options, say suppose I have selected to watch a particular movie. So for watching the movie, again the particular machine will ask me what type of category of movie you are going to like to watch. So categories might be, it might be a horror movie, it might be a comedy movie, it might be an animated type of movie, it might be scientific fiction type of movie, it might be a family dramatic type of movie, it might be mystery solving movie. So these are some types of categories of your movies. So from this also, if I have selected, say suppose I have selected mystery solving type of movies. So in that also it will give me the options like there are some evergreen types of movies which you must have to watch. Or this is the recent movie that has um, just been telecasted, or that must be watched and it is highly in demand. So in this way, again, the following names of the movies will be given. You can select that particular name. You can book the tickets for that particular movie, or you can just search at your particular system at your browser and you can watch the particular movie. So this is how your chatbot works with. Okay. Then second example can be taken here as of financial assistance. Say suppose I want to do the investment, so where can do the investment. So if I have asked the same example for your chatbots, as per the financial investments are being concerned, so what can I have as an investment option? So the machine can tell me that you can invest your financial in some share market, or in mutual funds, or in LIC investment, or you can have the medical insurance, or you can have the jewelry investment. Jewelry investment can be done in diamonds, in gold, silver, whatever you like, as you prefer. Then land investments are also there. Okay, so as per the particular demand in the particular comparative states, I have decided that from these options I would like to invest into the land. So what I will do, I will again give some criteria that I want such and such size of plot. It should be located at the central place of the particular city where all the facilities are nearer to me within 10 to 15 minutes. So, and the environment should be also very greeny. So these are all my conditions that I have told to the particular system. Now what the system is going to do, it will just tick the particular options that I have given, and according to it, it will suggest me that these are 4 to 5 plots that I have listed out for you. You can just go through it. So what I can just go to each and everything, see the location, and then again, as per the things, I can re-verify at my own level and then try to invest the things. So this is how the assisting part is being carried out by your chatbots. Similar next example can be given with the in your education field also. Say suppose you want to prefer for some type of online courses. So what type of online courses you are going to have? So that things can be goes on and on, assisting you at each and every type of level that you are seeking the information for. So this is how your chatbot helps you in your day-to-day life also. Next comes with your fuzzy logic. Now, when we say fuzzy logic, before going to go for fuzzy logic directly, I will give you the example of binary bits. Binary bits, as you all know, 0 and 1 are the two bits that we are having. So say suppose 1, if we consider, it is considered as the true condition. If it is 0, it is considered as the 0 position. And with this criteria, say suppose I have set a threshold of say suppose 5 foot to see the height of the particular person. If a particular person having the height 5 or more than 5, he or she can be considered as the most heighted person. But the person who is below 5 will not be considered as a heighted person. Okay, so what this fuzzy logic does, the fuzzy logic overcomes the problems of this type of thresholding part. So what happens if the particular height of the person is say suppose 2.9 or 4.10? So it is very, very nearer to 5, but not exactly equal to 5. So fuzzy logic comes in picture to overcome this criteria. So whatever values that are there in between 0 and 1, that values or that inputs are being considered here. So that is basically the concept of your fuzzy logic. So here the most important part we are having is your recommendation system. Now, how recommendation system works out. So for that purpose, I would like to give you the very good example of shopping. Everybody likes to do shopping. And nowadays, online shopping is the very, very craziest things going on. Everybody is trying to purchase one or other thing every other day. So whenever you are going to shop, again, it is very important to shop at the safest sites. Okay, so prefer for using the Amazon or Flipkart type of sites, which are safer parts. Okay, so whenever you are going for shopping purpose, so say suppose I am going to shop for say suppose shoes. Okay, so I want say suppose this color shoes, gray color shoes if I have said. So I have selected one shoes, but depending on my input that I have given that I want the shoes of say suppose number 7 with the color gray, I am having below 50 options of the same type of specifications, might be with different types of design, but same specification. Size should be 7 and the color should be gray. So hundreds of options are present below in front of me. So how it has been given? It is given with the help of recommendation system. The system is recommending you that this is the specification that you are having. See, we are having other options also with us. So this is how the recommendation system works out. Now, second example, again, I would like to give you from our educational field only. So, say suppose you are going to apply for the educational loans, or you are applying for, say, suppose scholarship schemes that you are having. Now, see, uh, there might be two types. If you are searching at the global level, the options are more. If you are searching at the national level, there are options, but lesser as compared to the international level, then regional level, and then the institutional level. Okay, so here, what I am going to have, say, suppose I have selected the particular scheme of research fellowship. So when I have given my specification that I want the scholarship of this particular type of states. So from that particular state, I am having, say, suppose 50 scholarship schemes in front of me. Okay, what is the input I have given? That I have given the input that the scholarship schemes which are present in the state of Maharashtra, or the scholarship schemes which are present in the country of India. Okay, so depending on the input that you are going to provide you, the system is going to collect the information depending on the inputs, and on that collected inputs it is extracted the similar base type of atoms or the schemes as per our example has been concerned, and that example will be given in front of you in the form of options, and depending on that you can compare yourself with the options that are available with you, and you can select the particular scheme for your purpose. So this is how your recommendation systems works out. The next example we are having is natural language processing. So when we say natural language processing, again the three domains comes in the picture. Speech recognition. So speech recognition means whatever I am saying, what is the meaning of that particular statement that I have said to you. Now see, speech recognition and speaker identification, these are two different type of aspects. Don't get confused with this. Speaker identification, audio identification, that we have seen into the pattern recognition. Now your speech has been recognized. That means whatever I am speaking, what is the meaning behind that particular speech? So that has to be analyzed. Okay, understand the particular natural language means what? The language which we can naturally understand. It might be a regional language. For me, say suppose Marathi is my regional language, then other regional language can be Hindi, it can be Urdu, it can be Sanskrit, it can be Tamil, it can be Malayalam. Then there are different types of languages which can be considered as your natural regional language. If we use that sort of language, it is easy for communication purpose also. Okay, so your understanding of the language is important. Understanding the context behind that language is also very important. And after that, we are able to generate the language into the local or regional level, so that public will be easily able to understand what the system is trying to tell the particular person. Now, this scheme can be very important when the schemes of governments are coming in picture. Say, suppose there, as I have told you, the example of India is the agricultural type of community. So here, government every day gives some other type of schemes for the farmers, but farmers are unable to grasp the English language. So what can be done? So the best example or the solution to this type of problem is to use their regional language, so that people could understand what the government actually wants to deliver to us, and that will be very beneficial also. So this is the concept of your natural language processing. After that, we are having emotional, social, and creative type of intelligence. Then again, it can be considered as a combo of your cognitive science or cognitism. So when I say it is emotional, emotional means what? How emotionally the particular machine is able to react, or how socially the machine is able to interact with different types of people around the environment in which they are living. So this can be considered as the behavioral types of aspect in which the machine is able or machine is expected to behave emotionally, socially, as well as creatively, same as the human beings are being done. Now, say suppose in the sense of creativeness, say suppose I have a particular land of say n by n size, and I want to have a blueprint of say suppose any kind of hospital. So what I will do, I will go with the particular architect and ask him to design the particular layout of the hospital. So what if the same type of planning should be done, or it is expected to done by the machine? So that can be considered as your creative intelligence. So machines are expected to do the creative tasks like designing, like planning. Okay. So this can be considered as your emotional, social, creative intelligence, which is expected to do by a particular machine. So the best example, you must have seen the movie of Robo, which is being led by Rajnikant ji. Okay, so in that it is a perfect example how that particular robo is emotionally attached. Means he is having the feelings of anger, he is having the feeling of love, he is having the feeling of helping, he is having helping nature also. Then he is also having how to interact with the particular person. So feelings are there, how to uh, behave, that means social interaction. So how to behave, how to greet people, where to sit, how to sit. So these are some type of social ethics that a robo is being robo should know, or it should understand here. Okay, so if suppose any guest has come to our house, so the robo must greet the particular person like good morning, welcome, in such a way. Okay, so that robo in the movie robot or robot 3 or 2, that whatever has been come, so that is the perfect example of all these three, which indicates love, which indicates anger, which indicates hatred, which indicates friends. So that can be considered as emotional, social, creative intelligence that we are having. Okay, so this is all about the scope of artificial intelligence that I have told you. As the technology will be growing, moving continuously, the advancement will also come into the picture. So at the next step, I will ask you, I will tell you what are the opportunities of your forensic. Now, whatever technologies I have told you, or whatever scope of artificial intelligence I have told you up till now, if any technology, if it is used as a positive thinking, in a positive way, in a positive intentions, so as to benefit this particular person, society, state, country, the world. So it becomes a boon to the society. Okay, but if the same technology is used with the negative type of intentions in order to harm the person, in order to harm the group of people, harm the society, harm the state, harm the country, or harm the world, it becomes naturally a crime. Okay, now when we say a cyber crime, so cyber crime means where the your digital devices comes into the picture, which is considered as the mode to commit a particular type of crime. Now there are tremendous job opportunities will be available in this type of field, where the number of cyber crimes will be tremendously increasing, and it is increased every day by day also. Okay, so there is very good opportunity to select the career in the field of your digital and cyber forensic side. The next slide that we are having, which will tell you the status of the cyber crimes that are happening nowadays. So recently, a news was published in the New Indian Express on 23rd February 2020. It says that the report was being given Internet Crime Report for 2019, which was released by USA IC3, that is Internet Crime Compliance Center of FBI, that is Federal Bureau of Investigation. It has revealed that India stands third in the world at the top 20 countries that are victim of cybercrimes. And India stands second for cyber attacks by the same report. I have not mentioned here that. So here, as a cybercrime victim, UK stands first. At the second position, we are having Canada, and India at the third position with 2,901 victims of your cybercrime. So this is the global type of report that I have told you. If we consider the situation of India, so India, we are having NCRB reports. Now, what is NCRB? NCRB is National Crime Report Bureau, which is being released by Ministry of Home Affairs. So around January 2020, they have published the report which states the crime, cyber crimes that has been reported in the year 2018. So in that report, they have told that nearly about 27,248 cases has been reported all over India. So the main motive, if we again bifurcate for that particular number, so here we are having the fraud cases, which is equal to 15,051 cases has been registered. Sexual exploitation, if we consider, so there we are having 2030 type of cases, 2030 cases, 2030 cases, not 2030. Then we are having causing the disputes. So for that purpose, we are having 1,212. It is 12 number of cases has been enrolled here. Then there are number of other types of things also there, but this is what your particular NCRB report says as per the India statistics has been considered. Okay, so as we go into the next slide, we are having the cyber crimes with respect to state and union territories. So this is the statistical data which is available in front of you from 2016 to 2018. So here, if you see, as per the states as well as union territories are being considered. At the first position, we are having Karnataka. Second position, we are having Assam. At third position, we are having Telangana. And at fourth position, we are having Maharashtra. Okay. So here, if we just see the rate of cybercrime as per the India has been considered, so here we are having 2.1. So how this crime rate is being calculated? So here the crime rate is calculated as the total number of cases that are being reported divided by population in lakhs. So this is the way how the rate of cybercrime is being calculated. So in the next slide, there is a brief review of what are the different types of cyber crimes that are happening nowadays. So here there is a brief list of cyber crimes. whichever has been taken as a bold part, those are being at very larger scale. Okay. So at the next slide, we are having the Locard's exchange principle. So Locard's exchange principle says that whenever a cyber crime or any type of crime happens, so at the criminal, whenever he is entering into the cyber crime location or whenever he is leaving the cyber crime location, he just leaves the traces of evidences. So the evidence might be your blood, it might be DNA, it might be latent prints, it might be hair, it might be fibers, or it might be your digital evidence also. Okay, so with this digital evidence, when I say that it is a digital evidence, so digital evidence can be considered as the most critical type of thing in which the nature of digital evidence is very latent. When I say the nature of digital evidence is latent, that means the digital evidences are not present openly to your eyes. They are present in the hidden format. That digital evidence can be easily altered, it can be easily damaged, or it can be easily destroyed too. Okay, and it is very time sensitive in nature. When I say it is time sensitive in nature, it means at particular time frame only the particular digital evidence will be present there. Once the time frame has been crossed out, the digital evidence might be lost. Okay, so this is how and as well the digital evidences, as it crosses the judiciary borders, it quickly changes as decision or policies might also change from state to state, from country to country, as well as national policies or international policies also. So depending on that, we have to see that digital evidences are to be grasped or collected at very uh, crucially and very carefully so as the integrity of that digital evidence is being maintained here. So there are different types of digital evidences which I have shown in front of you in the form of pictures. So just these are some of the next slide, please. So these are some of the computers through which the digital images can be obtained here or digital evidence can be obtained. Next slide. Types of hardwares. So these are different types of hardwares with the SCSI drives, SATA drives, laptop hard drives. Next slide. There are different types of external hard drives. Hard drives can be external also. It might be internal also. Next slide is your removable medias, which consist of your floppy disk, zip disk, compact disk, that is CDs, DVDs. Nowadays, floppy disk and zip disks are not used, but still the use of CDs and DVDs are also becoming very, very minimum. Next, we are having the most recently type of storage device that we are using is your thumb drives. So thumb drives, and at the second part, you can see that thumb drives are of different types of shape in the form of clock, in the form of smart cards, or in the form of pens, which is used to fool the particular person that this is the other device and not a storage type of device. So such devices can also be used for committing the crime or just sharing the information unauthentically or unauthorization, or either to disrupt the system or slow down the system also. Next type, next slide, we are having memory cards. Different types of memory cards are there. Next, different types of handheld devices. You can see from basic cell phone to the latest upgraded cell phones we are having. We are also having palm tops also. Next, there are other peripheral type of devices on which the latent traces can be taken out or it might be found out. Next type of slide, we are having the other digital evidences like your tape drives are there, surveillance equipments are there, digital cameras are there, video cameras are there, DVDs are there, digital audio recorders are there. Next, some reference materials are also there, SIM card readers, thumbprint readers, GPS is there, video game consoles are there. Okay, MP3 players are there, podcasts are there. Next slide is dealing with your computer networks, which deals with various types of networks. Next slide. So your internet modems, routers, wireless cards for PCs can be used here. Wireless USB devices are being used. Next slide. We are having other forms of evidences also. Some handwritten notes might be there. Some hardware, software manuals can be there. Calendars are there. Then literatures might be written down. Some textual algorithm might be there. Some flow charts might be there. So these are some piece of papers might be there with some possible type of keywords or passwords that can be also considered as your digital evidences that has to be considered here. Next slide is dealing you or it's telling you that whenever we are collecting the digital type of evidences, you have to follow some standard procedure. Okay, so that standard procedure is given by incident response methodology. So there are 7 steps which you can
Excuse me,
see in
ma'am.
the picture, which has to be followed. The
Excuse me, ma'am.
first one
Sorry to.
is to be prepared, then detect the slides, incidents that has been occurred, then see what are the initial responses, formulate your
Hello.
strategy, collect your data, and just report it. So scientific
Excuse,
methodology has to be adopted here. Next slide we are having, these are with
excuse me,
different
ma'am.
type of
Sorry to
areas
interrupt.
on which the digital and cyber crime has to be worked out. Next slide. Next slide, please. This tells
Excuse me,
you
ma'am.
the future career you can have when you opt for your digital and cyber forensic as your career path. So you can be a computer forensic investigator, you can be a computer forensic technician, you can be a computer security analyst, computer system security analyst, forensic computer analyst, security consultant, scientific officers. In academic sector also you can have assistant professor, associate professor, professor level type of career, or you can go in research field also where you can work as a research fellow too. Next slide will tell you that whatever you might be a UG student, you might be a PG student, or you might be a postgraduate student, the syllabus is very, very limited. It is not coping to the situation that we are facing nowadays. So to cope up with the situation, as I have told you, the technology is changing every second by second, every minute by minute. So to cope with it, to stay updated, you need to be a step ahead. Now, how you will be leading to a step ahead by doing some type of certification type of courses, by doing some type of diploma type of courses. Each and every student is coming to me and asking me that, ma'am, what should we do further? How we can enter into this type of career opportunities or how we can get this type of opportunities. So for that purpose, I always suggest that you should do the certification courses or diploma courses. There are various certification courses for report writing also. We require the experts who know how to write the report. He should have the technical knowledge of how to write the report as well as the law knowledge that what laws or what acts has to be inserted in it so that that report will be considered admissible into your court proceedings. Okay, if your report is incomplete, then naturally it will not be considered for your court proceedings. Then we are having uh, the incident response, forensic accounting, fraud examination, then web log forensic, computer security, hacking and digital forensic, auto skill, network forensic examiner. Then the latest trend that is going on is your Bitcoin and cryptocurrency forensic investigation. Nowadays, it is available just at the cost of 700 rupees at Udemy platforms. So there are various platforms on which this courses might be available at free of cost or they can charge you for some type of money. So here the different types of amount platforms can be your Swayam course, EDX, Coursera, ePathshala, Udemy, Udacity, Skillshare, and etc. So these are some of the references that has been used, and thank you. So now let's be open for any type of question answer sessions if there are any.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Can you
There are
comment
some
to check for
questions.
the
We'll take.
questions?
Yeah.
What major changes do you foresee in your future due to use of artificial intelligence in legal systems? Now, see, as I have told you that the technology is becoming very advanced. Now, as you see, the Bitcoin scenario, there are no legal activities has been quoted up till now. So, it is not recommended for you to invest your financial into that Bitcoin type of investments. So, there, what we can have some legal policies to be made there so that you can also come up and safely invest your investments into the crypto coins that we are having, cryptocurrencies we are having. So this is one type of example we can have. Then, so this is how the legal system also needs to be updated as the technology is been changing. Can digital evidence mislead investigation when proper method procedure is not followed? Yes, of course. You have to follow the scientific procedure. Now, if we consider the digital and cyber forensic cases, there is not one standard, one particular standard methodology. Every case is different. Every case has to be dealt differently only. So, whenever you are doing any type of investigation, just see that you are following the Dobbert guidelines. Then there are Kumo tire guidelines. If those guidelines are being followed, then there are less chances that the digital investigation will go into the misdirection way.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
How
Thank you
does
so much for
artificial
sharing.
intelligence then? Should we stop or should I answer?
You can
We can
answer this
take this
question
last
last.
question. Yeah.
Okay. How does artificial intelligence can contribute in digital forensic? Now, see, digital forensic is such a field where it is interdisciplinary field. It is not just contributing itself as an artificial intelligence. You can have the physics into the digital and cyber forensic. You can have biology field into digital and cyber forensic. Bioinformatics is there. Then biochemical technology is there. Then biophysics is there. So it is an interdisciplinary field. Okay, then IoT is there. IoT is such a technology. In future, nearly about 25 million devices will be connected to each other. This is the aim of 2030. So just see, when IoT will rule over the world, each and every device will be operated with just a click of button. So this is not an one particular field it has been considered. Each and every field can come into digital and cyber forensic where the digital devices comes into the picture.
Yes.
Any more questions we are having?
No, ma'am. Thank you so much. Thank you for
Okay, if
sharing
you're having
such
more questions, you can just mail me. I can just answer them. You can post them to their respective email IDs, whatever we are having, if any doubts are there.
Yeah, sure, ma'am.
Okay,
Will do
thank
that.
you.
Thank you so much for sharing such an informative session in distinct areas of artificial intelligence. It was really an honor to have you here. Our last speaker for today is Mr. Rizwan Shaikh, ethical hacker, Chief Technology Officer, and founder, Pristine InfoSolutions, Mumbai. Rizwan Shaikh is a prominent information security researcher and cybercrime consultant with more than 9 years of experience in the middle of ethical hacking, information security, and cyber law. He is a well-known name in the cyber world, and with experience over 9 years, he has been conducting ethical hacking training and provides information security services across the globe. He is widely sought after speaker on distinct areas of cybersecurity and cyber law and has been invited by many corporates and leading institutions of India, including IITs and NITs, for conducting workshops, seminars, boot camps, and training on ethical hacking and information security. He has trained more than 30,000 individuals in colleges, corporates, and government departments. He has trained employees of some of the many prestigious companies. Its area of expertise includes vulnerability assessment, penetration testing, information security audits, source code reviews, computer forensics, ethical hacking, and cyber law. Mr. Rizwan has started his career at the age of 17. His first accomplishment was finding a loophole in a reputed SMS gateway which allowed spoofing numbers to send SMS. He came into the limelight at the age of 18 when he protected many Indian websites from getting defaced by Pakistan cyber army. And he played a major role in finding out the plan with pseudonyms. Being a cyber security researcher and ethical hacking expert, Rizwan has revealed numerous critical vulnerabilities, bugs, and loopholes on websites and networks of major corporate institutions and government portals. He has also resolved many cyber crimes cases and is also a security advisor for various reputed organizations, banks, and e-commerce companies, helping them in designing safe cyber architecture for their web servers and networks. His major accomplishments include identifying the websites which were involved in fraudulent activities like 419 scam, spamming, etc. He recently initiated and set up a feedback loop with different anti-malware organizations to proactively share and report details about the abuse of domain names and different malwares. All his efforts are lauded by numbers of various underground hacking groups, security researchers, and communities worldwide. His fanaticism for ethical hacking and cybersecurity made him an expert in the security domain. At present, Rizwan Shaikh is the founder of Pristine InfoSolutions, a cybersecurity company headquartered in Mumbai, India, specializing in providing training and services for cybercrime investigations, cyber law consulting, ethical hacking, and information security. Mr. Rizwan is working towards a strapping mission of protecting each and every patron on the internet from snooping eyes and malicious hackers to create a safe and secure cyber world. A very warm welcome to the conference, sir. It is an honor to have you here today. Over to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the wonderful introduction. Hello, everyone. So, today I have decided to take certain parts with regards to cybercrime investigations, as well as we're going to discuss some of the recent cybercrimes which are happening and which have created a mass havoc, especially in India. Hacker seems to be a very contradictory word. Ethical hacker, the term is not defined for the good person, especially when we talk about cyber law of India. So it's always better to call yourself a cybersecurity expert. Hacker, if you define, if you ask anyone who a hacker is, usually people answer hacker is the person who can hack into any computer systems, network, he can hack into someone's Facebook account, or he can hack into your bank account and do illegal money transfer. He is a hacker. But there are two kinds of hacker, unethical and ethical. And I would say there is very thin line of difference between the both. To talk about difference, unethical hacker is the one who is trying to hack with a malicious intention. Either he's going to damage, destroy, or do any kind of illegal activity. Whereas ethical hacker is the person who is employed by any company or organization in order to hack to make something hack proof. For example, suppose I have got one of the project of vulnerability assessment for making any particular website hack proof. So I actually get the permission to hack into someone's network or to hack into someone's website in order to make it hack proof. So without making any damage to the website, if I make it hack proof, that's the part of the ethical hacker, basically pen tester. So I will be starting my session directly. What I'm going to do is I will be sharing my screen with you. I have very limited number of slides in the presentation, but I have majority thing online, which I will be displaying you as a demonstration. I expect everyone to watch the demonstration carefully and understand the thing, because this is something related to the cybercrime investigations. Suppose if any kind of fraud or crime is happening, how the investigation works in such scenarios, how one can find any criminal, get him behind the bar legally. So I'm sharing my screen. I hope my screen is visible to everyone. By any chance, if there is any concern, you can leave
Yes,
a message in
yes,
the
yes.
YouTube live and hope we definitely appreciate it. So, this is my website, RetonOnline.com. I'm going to talk first of all about the basic types of crime which are happening, which are very frequent, and you can be a victim to it. So, let me first of all open a slide for you, and I have just mentioned 4 common types of attacks which are happening very commonly in the current time. Phishing, everyone might be aware what phishing is. Second is password cracking. Third is malware. Fourth is social engineering. I will be displaying few of the demonstration out of it. When I talk about phishing, phishing is nothing but registering a similar looking domain name. For example, if I talk about one of the very famous bank site, there is a very reputed bank which is ICICI Bank, and the official domain name of ICICI Bank is icicibank.com. Any unethical hacker, he can actually try to register a similar looking domain name. For example, icicbank.com if it's available, or he can also register icicbank.com with an extra C in it. You can see both these domain names are looking similar to the original domain name, which is icicbank.com. Any person who is a good website developer can actually design a complete replica of the website of the original site. Anyone entering username password on the original website will go to original server. Anyone entering username password on the fake domain name will go to the fake server. This is what phishing is in very simple terms. If I talk about countermeasures, people must be aware that you should always watch the domain name very carefully. You should never enter your credentials or username password unless you see HTTPS with an extra S after HTTP. You should not enter your username password. So these are few of the countermeasures. Having said that, I would just like to show you a very small example so that you don't fall prey or victim to such attacks. Suppose I write a domain name, something like I write an entire URL. The URL is http://icicibank.com/ suppose Indian login /login.html. Now this is one of the URL, whereas I am typing another domain name which is something similar. And I've modified this URL to this fake login. I have typed 2 different domain names over here. First domain is icicbank.com/indianlogin/ this is fake login.html. The second website which I have mentioned is http://icicbank.com.indianlogin.in/real login.html. If I talk and if I say that one website is phishing, one is real, what do you think? Which one is phishing? Which one is real? Here, the website which is this, the first one is real and second one is phishing. How and why? If you see, just a second. If you see the domain name over here, icicibank.com, this is the domain name, whereas the domain over here is indianlogin.in, and subdomains are created. For example, if I have the domain name rizwanonline.com, I can create as many subdomains as I want. I can create abc.rizwanonline.com. I can also create com.abc.rizwanonline.com. I can also create icicibank.com.abc.rizwanonline.com. Just because a subdomain ICICI Bank is added, it does not mean that this domain now belongs to ICICI Bank. It is still rizwanonline.com. And anyone entering any data over here will come on my server. So we must always watch the domain name carefully. Even here it is written this is a fake login, but still I know whatever data I'm going to enter will go only on this server. So always verify the domain name, website name very carefully. Never click on empty link you receive in the email. You might be aware certain fake phishing messages were sent
There is an internet connectivity issue from sir, and he will be joining us very soon.
Temporary, I guess temporary, my net connection fluctuated a bit and I got disconnected. But again, I'm coming back. I'm sharing my screen. We are live again over here. So here I share my screen. I was talking about different attacks. So phishing was one of the things which I explained. Then password cracking is one of the things where you should keep strong passwords and be very secure and safe from kind of password attacks. So you should keep an alphanumeric password which has multiple characters, and you should change your password frequently. Apart from that, malwares you should be aware of. I would be displaying a live demonstration of this. Malware is nothing but a malicious software. Any software which is harmful for your system is a malware. Now, malware includes right from your virus, trojans, keylogger, everything is a malware. It is available right from your Windows operating system to your Linux to Android, iOS. Almost all the operating systems are infected by some or the other malware. I have recently designed an APK file. APK file is basically used for Android as an Android application. I have a file over here on my desktop. If you can see android.apk. This android.apk is actually a kind of Trojan which is once injected or installed into the victim's computer or victim's cell phone. Basically, his cell phone will be compromised, and this is basically how majority of the applications which are recently banned by government of India, those Chinese applications, were actually having Trojan facility in the background, and they were they were actually spying on the cell phone of the user. So let me first show you how exactly this particular Trojan works. What I'm doing is I'm having an Android cell phone in my hand in which I have already installed this android.apk file. Now, since I have injected this android.apk file, automatically the data of the cell phone is getting fetched on the database which I have created. And I'll just show you how this database actually works. I just try to log in over here in the database. We call this as Pristine Spy since we have made it in our company for studying purpose. I logged into the Pristine Spy software, and upon login, you can see what all data is being fetched from this particular cell phone. Right from call logs, the first information. So you can imagine any random software which you install, which is received by you either on WhatsApp, or you randomly install something received on the email by clicking on the link, or any other application. If it's a malware, imagine what all data you are sharing of your cell phone to the hacker anonymously. So call logs has all the information right from dial call, receive call, missed calls details. You can see all the informations are available over here, and this is very dangerous. All your incoming, outgoing missed calls data will be leaked. Apart from call logs, we have call recordings as well. So any call which you are going to make will also be recorded and will be stored in this particular android.apk file. Now this particular and will be another that of this particular malware. You can see apart from that we have messages over here. Once this malware is injected, it is going to read all the SMSs and will be sent to attacker again. It has so many other features as well. For example, your location can be tracked, your screens can be screenshot can be taken, and there are so many other things including social media activities, browsing history, and all the information which is in non-encrypted format, basically in plain format, will be available. So this is what a normal malware can do. Apart from that, another attack is our social engineering attack, which I mentioned in the slide. Social engineering is something where a person basically try to hack you without actually using complete technical skills. He will just force you to do something wrong, and you will end up committing a mistake indirectly, either leaking your data, installing any malware, or sharing any private confidential information. For example, OTP shared on call by you to a fraudster is also a social engineering attack. Fraudster call you to try to act as an employee of any bank or any particular gateway. He say ask you for SMS you have received in order to activate your account or something, and you end up revealing the OTP indirectly while losing your account. So these are the four common types of crimes which are very commonly happening, very commonly trending. One of the things which I displayed you was malware. The same kind of malware is available almost for all the different operating systems, even for your laptop and desktop as well. Now, when we talk about the investigation part of it, investigation is basically required after the crime is committed. There are two essential things. I am not talking about precaution and countermeasures over here. Precaution and countermeasures is basically used to defend yourself from any kind of attack.
I'm sorry, there is some network issue with him. He will connect. Sorry. He is getting in connect with him. Soon the issue will be resolved.
Since I'm traveling to a remote location. Let me share my screen again with. So okay, here I am connected to the internet again, and I feel it's not fluctuating a lot. Let me just test my internet connection once again. Just give me a moment. I will just connect and increase my internet speed, and I would be क्या चल रहा है तुम्हारा YouTube पे?
There's connectivity issue at Sir end. We will wait for few more minutes. Sir will be back soon.
Okay, so a lot of disturbance because of the
Yes, sir.
so I want now if it like on a better network. Okay, here we go. And I open google.com on the left. Which country I'm visiting, the Google web. Automatically, Google detects the name of the country and it gives me the name over there. How Google knows I'm in India? It's because of my IP address. So Google, as soon as I visit, Google records my IP address, which is 112 something, and automatically Google gives me a customized version of the website, which is Google India. Now let me tell you one thing, it's not just Google. Any website which I visit, let it be Google, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Card, whatsoever, every website has the capacity of recording IP address. So in case of criminal scenario, for example, a person has created fake Facebook profile on FB. So now what will happen is FB will have IP, since every website records IP, even who does records. And as an investigator, we can officially demand the log of IP. We will just give a lookup on this IP. We will see that I give you this particular IP. Now I can start sending notice to this IP and demand the KYC in user who was using this IP address as well as data. So as soon as IP for shared, a criminal will be. तुम्हारा चालू करो एक बार, बंद हो रहा. Okay, I'm connecting to a different internet once again. I may be disconnected for 30 seconds maximum. Let me just reconnect it. Okay, so I disabled my camera temporarily so that you can hear me and watch my screen.
Yes,
So
yes.
every website is indirectly recording your IP. Example, I give an example. If fake profile on Facebook is created, Facebook records the IP address. Officially, law enforcement can demand IP by visiting particular link. Once they get the IP address, all they have to do is ask for the IP from the ISP. So if the IP belongs to Vodafone, Vodafone will give the logs of persons given information that so and so person was using particular IP address. तो आवाज आ रही है जो तो आवाज जा रही है जो बोल कौन तो है
There's some connectivity issue at Sarin. So now we'll move forward towards the end of this session. And I, on behalf of the entire Legal Desire family, would like to thank and take this moment to thank each and every speaker, Mr. Anil sir, Mr. Naren sir, Mr. Neeraj sir, Dr. Shobha ma'am, and Mr. Rizwan sir for taking out the time from the busy schedule to come and join us today on this platform to enlighten us with various aspects of digital forensic and its related laws. I would also like to extend my gratitude to GTN Arts College, Bioforensic Research Center, and Yashwant Rao Chavan Institute of Science for being generous and sponsoring the same today. I would also like to thank Mr. Anuj sir, founder, Legal Design Media and Insight, Mr. Mahipal Singh, the convener of the conference, Mr. Kapil Parihar, co-convener, and the entire organizing team of the Legal Desire for making this conference a great success today. Last, but definitely not the least, I would like to thank each one of you for joining us today. Before winding up for the day, please subscribe to Public and Policy TV to get updates for all the upcoming conference and knowledge series. Thank you once again. Have a good day.